The Starfield showcase announcement is imminent, apparently. It will be happening this week, the last week of February, first week of March, probably lining up with that private press event that they will be having that was sort of leaked. Now, I wanted to walk through the top 5 things I think they need to do at this showcase. Some of this is in light of things that have happened recently and Xbox just wanting to have a strong year. Now, I'm going to put everything right here at the beginning of the video so you don't have to go looking for it. If you're watching the past broadcast, help out the video by smashing like, consider becoming a member, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. So I get why many people are sort of looking forward to this announcement. They're wanting the Starfield showcase to sort of cement the year for Xbox, and many people are anticipating the showcase really finally giving us a much deeper dive and more bigger look at the game. Now, you need to remember it's become known that this private press event will be happening in early March for Starfield. What this will likely be is them sitting down with the press and saying, hey, here's all of the things we're going to be doing, here's when the showcase is, here's the details, and they would likely then hand out some more B-roll and things for the press to use in their coverage of it. Now, as we're getting closer to that early March press event, it's getting really quote-unquote leaky out there. VGC's editor-in-chief Andy Robinson recently tweeted that, quote, announcement for the Starfield showcase is imminent, and then he replied to his own tweet and said, as in soon. It's going to be happening soon. Makes sense that the press guys are hearing these leaks first because they're the ones that are going to be likely invited to the event. Now, according to xfire.com, YouTuber Randall Tor and Windows Central editor Jez Corden corroborated Robinson's info on a recent Xbox 2 podcast episode, where they also said that Microsoft and Bethesda will announce the date for the Starfield showcase next week. Now, they obviously said that last week. I'm doing this show on February the 28th. So this week, sort of the final days of February and the first days of March is when the showcase will be announced. I think this is lining up with that private precedent. Now, that would be only, I think, leaving 2 days of February, which only gives you a couple days in March to do this. So maybe the private press event will have like a day of announcement, like, hey, there's no embargo. Give everybody a couple of hours to get their articles typed up and slam them out there. And I would think that this is how they're going to handle it. Now, this corroborates something that Rand heard last year. According to xfire.com, Rand claims to have heard rumors late last year that Bethesda will hold a Starfield showcase in March or April. Now, I very early on said, listen, this private press event is likely going to be tied to the announcement of the showcase. It's not going to be the showcase itself, and it'll probably come with some new footage, but they're not going to give a ton of things away, right? They're going to want to save things for the showcase. And according to xfire.com, a March showcase makes sense if Starfield's coming out in June. Now, people are still holding on to the hope that the game is coming out in June to make good on their first half of the year promise from last year, and that would mean that the announcement for the showcase and the showcase itself would be landing in the same month. I think that is totally legitimate. I don't think that would be weird. It would be more weird, I think, to announce the showcase and then make people wait a long time for just the thing to happen. So depending on when it happens in March, though, if you think about the marketing window for Starfield, it's getting kind of small. If the release date for Starfield is in June and they do this thing mid-March or late March, the window for marketing of Starfield will have shrunk to between 2 and 3 months. I know Todd Howard's probably happy about that, but that will be a change of precedent for Bethesda and their games. We know that they like to shorten those windows. They don't like them to be super long. Todd Howard kind of said tongue-in-cheek he would do it like 2 weeks. He'd give you 2 weeks to market it, and then that would be the end of it. So I want to walk through my top 5 must-haves for the showcase. Now, these aren't just things I want to see personally, even though that's true for most of what I'm about to outline. Like, these are things that I do want to see personally. I also think these are things that are needed for the game as well as public opinion to get back on track. You've really got to kind of get everybody back on board with Starfield, and I think these 5 things should set the game up for a full steam ahead marketing push. If we are getting the game in June, they've got a nice little window of time to do some of their little Q&A videos. They can talk about different systems and all of that. So let me walk through the top 5. First and foremost, I want a raw gameplay showcase. I don't want sliced up footage like we got last year. We've already got that. We don't need any more of that. We need somebody holding the controller and playing the game. In my mind, this is practically a non-negotiable at this point, given how long we've had to go with the gameplay sort of splice up from 2022. I don't really necessarily even want raw recorded gameplay. I would actually like to see raw live gameplay. Show me somebody standing there holding a controller and playing the game. I want to see active movements in-game gameplay. I don't want this spliced up stuff. We're beyond that at this point. If I'm within a couple months of the game coming out, I would like to see real gameplay. I don't want to see something that's been slammed together by some marketing company. I don't want to see something that's been put together by somebody else. This would, I think, really help the second thing that I'm going to talk about. So that's number 1. I want to see raw gameplay. Number 2, you've got to establish performance, okay? At this point, I think that Starfield gameplay performance is a giant question mark for anybody paying attention. If you watch the footage that they outlined and they released last year, that's been a big question mark, is how is this thing going to run? We're seeing issues with the gameplay. I try to weave it in to these show opens, and the reason I try to weave it into the show opens is because I think it's important to constantly look at what we have so far. The gameplay from 2022 was not consistent, okay? It's been combed over more times than I care to count, and many people have been good to point out issues with frame rate, issues with shadows, performance not even having parity between the different slices of footage. The big question that many people are asking is, what about 30 FPS? Are we going to get a 60 FPS mode? This is a question that I think is fair to ask. Many people started asking this question, I think, even more so in light of Todd Howard's comments in the past about 30 FPS. It doesn't give me a whole lot of hope about a 60 FPS mode. That is worrying. I think an actual raw gameplay showcase where they even talk maybe about performance would be a good thing. I don't want to be in the dark going into the release date of this game about how's it going to run. Now, the Series S, its consistent performance thresholds that we've seen with newer games points me to think that that console will likely be a 30 FPS capped experience, and many men believe that you're going to get 30 FPS for performance parity in both versions of the game. I really hope that that's not true, but given Todd Howard's comments, I think that that could happen. So those are the first 2 things I want to see: raw gameplay, and I really need to see established performance. I don't think I'm alone in wanting to see this. Third, I would like to see them showcase some of the content loop to a degree, right? I don't need to see everything, but it would be nice to see what a loop of content would look like. Accepting a mission, doing the mission, starting off with an NPC when you walk up to them. What does it all look like? What does it look like when you're doing it, getting stuff, looting, whatever? You know, just a mission beginning, middle, and end I think would be nice. What does dialogue, combat, traversal, traveling, looting, what do all these things look like? The more I've looked at the gameplay showcase from 2022, the more I have felt like I watched something that was very withholding, that was very reserved. Many people have said this about the Days Gone controversy. I'm sorry, the day before. Everybody said this about the day before. You've not really shown us anything. You've not really shown us any systems. You've not really shown us any raw gameplay. And the more I've watched Starfield, the more I've gotten a similar feeling of, I really don't feel like I've seen this game yet. I don't feel like I've seen what I'll be doing. Now, I'm not saying this is his equivalent to the day before. I definitely think we've seen the genuine article. This is a real game after all. It's actually going to launch, something the day before is never going to do. This game, though, is doing similar things. I feel like we're getting this sort sort of shrouded view of the game, and I would like to see some of those systems in action. I'm okay with them using their YouTube channel leading up to the launch to do deep dives into crafting, skill points, combat. You can stagger all that out. You don't have to do all that in the showcase. But for this showcase, I think we would want to see some semblance of an idea of what the content loop and the identity of the game will look like. I need more than just people saying, oh, it's going to be Skyrim and Fallout in space. I need Starfield to show up. I need the actual game itself to show up to this showcase so that we're not all speculating, oh, it's going to be a lot like Fallout and Skyrim. No, I want to know what Starfield is going to be, not similarities that have to be inferred from very basic slap-together gameplay. The fourth thing that we need, and this one seems kind of obvious, right? This one seems blatantly obvious, but I'm going to say it because there's that lingering fear that we're not going to get this one. We need a hard release date. A Starfield release date that will not move needs to be in this Starfield showcase. Obviously, this feels like a no-brainer, but I'm going to include it because there's this off chance they could just leave us hanging, and I don't think that would go over very well with the community or the gaming press. This is why I'm including it. This is a must-have. You must do this. You cannot have a showcase and just sort of end and not have a release date. I think people would be pretty irritated. If you can't make the June release date, fine. That is fine. I'm okay with that. Just own it and give us a date. Enough is enough. No more goofing around. No more, cheeky little tweets or anything like that. We don't need that. What we need is a hard release date. I don't care if the date's in June or even a few months after. I think the final thing that will help a release date is, this is number 5, I want them to do this during the showcase. Set the stage and the expectations for the marketing trickle. What else are we going to get from you? Are you just going to do this showcase and then that's the end of the matter? Are you just going to show me some more NPCs and some more dialogue and then that's it? Or are you going to do more of those deep dives? I really like the question and answer thing they did with Todd Howard. I like the fact that they gave us that deep dive into the dialogue system. I'd like to see a little bit more. I thought it was a good surface level flyover of the dialogue system and the number of dialogue lines, but this might seem unnecessary to some people, but in light of the silence up to this point, I think this is a must-have. Set the expectations for what we can expect in the coming months leading up to the release of the game, mainly because I think there are way too many systems and gameplay loops to jam into one showcase, okay? I don't think they can put everything into one showcase. There's too much in the game. I think those content loops and mechanics do need to be shown prior to launch. Main quests, side quests, dialogue, in action, see somebody doing it, right? I don't want to just see dialogue described. There's crafting, there's skill points, traveling, combat, exploring, gathering, building settlements. We've all just seen glimpses of these things. It would be nice to see them in action with somebody sort of explaining the POV, the vision. Why is this in the game? How's it going to show up? The list goes on and on. That's not even including factions and campaign and all of those things and what their vision for those things are. I don't think we can go into the Starfield release date without some info and insight into those systems. So I think we've got good info about side quests and factions and the dialogue system, but we need more info, I think, on those, maybe a bit of a deeper dive, and we definitely need to see these systems in action. So my conclusion, Xbox started strong with the developer direct and then they shadow dropped Hi-Fi Rush. I think it was a strong start for Xbox. I'm giving them that round. It was a bit of a win, but they already quickly faltered in the public's eye in light of the Baldur's Gate 3 news, not being able to get the game to run to the same standard on the Series X and the S, so they can't even give you a release date for Baldur's Gate 3. They're quickly sort of slipping back into a question mark status of like, what does this mean for the future of the console? And the Starfield showcase could be, I think, a very, very big notch in their belt for the year. The Starfield showcase is their chance to step on the stage and show the world just how big and good this game is going to be. I have my lingering concerns about the real reason that it was delayed and any attempted parity between the Series X and the Series S. I have concerns about that. I still think that's the real reason that the game was delayed. I still think the game's going to run very poor on the Series S, and it's going to feel like a Cyberpunk situation where you got a game that has no business on a certain system. You can defend the Series S all you want. Those are my concerns. If you're not concerned, good for you. Head first, dive into the game when it comes out. I still firmly believe that Starfield could be a meaningful and impactful game. I think this could be another really big moment for Bethesda. This could be another Skyrim, right? But much like Skyrim, they got a big mountain to climb, and there's no shortcut to get there. That's a show open. What do you guys think? Starfield showcase announcement any day now, and I was like, all right, I want to get out before this thing happens and establish what I want to see. I want to see those 5 things. What are the things that you want to see? What are the things that you want to see from the showcase when it finally comes out? Let me get the coffee in the frame. Today is the last day that you can use code GETFRICKED on our Frickmas blend, our holiday blend. Last day to use code GETFRICKED. Get Fricked in February. You get 20% off our Frickmas blend when you order it with that code. And we are 12 members away from 2,500 members. We're 12 members away. That will unlock the doubleheader horror weekend. We'll likely do that doubleheader horror weekend this weekend if we hit that. You only need 12 more to hit that. That'll put us at 2,500. Then the 3,000 goal is for the Just Dance stream, which I'm giving you until March 2nd to hit the other big goals. I can't wait for the announcement of the announcement. The only reason Forza Horizon 5 ran good on the Series S is because it was designed for Xbox One. FM8 is supposedly next-gen exclusive. FM8? What game are you talking about? Oh, Forza Motorsport. I think it was your number 2. Raw gameplay is probably the most important thing to me. Raw gameplay was my first thing. That was the first thing I said. Number 1, raw gameplay showcase. I need somebody holding a controller and playing. I don't need recorded gameplay. I don't need that. That doesn't convince me of anything at this point. It doesn't. I need Starfield gameplay, raw, somebody holding a controller. I just need a release date. No, I need more than that at this point, Hilly. Yo, what's good, feed? B-Rex Media hitting a month of membership. Something I've been wondering is if Halo Infinite wasn't make or break for Xbox, will Starfield take that position? I don't think they're viewing Starfield in that way, no. No. Silver Subaru with 25 months of membership and it's a VIP. I think at this point Starfield should stagger the release date. Next gen first, then later for last gen. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Wait, it's not going to run on last gen. What are you talking about? This isn't going to run on an Xbox One X or an Xbox One, is it? It's not going to run on those systems, is it? I didn't think... Did I miss that? Maybe I've been wrongly assuming this. I've always assumed this was just Series S and X. Is this thing actually landing on those systems? By the way, He-Man shirt is made from Riz material. I love it. Oh, do you have one too? It's new consoles only. Yeah, it's not on last gen. Yeah, it's next gen except for the Series S. Christopher Wright is going to kick things off. He gifts a member. We only need 12 to hit 2,500, and he gets us one closer, and it goes to JG from Space. Help us hit those big goals. I am giving you guys a couple extra days to hit them, and make sure you're smashing the like button as well. Almost 400 people walking in the door. Welcome into Reforge Gaming, discussing the Starfield showcase. My top 5 needs. What do they need to do in this showcase? What are the things that you want to see? If it plays on Xbox One and doesn't come to the PS5, I'm going to boycott Bethesda forever. Yeah, this is a next-gen only platform game. I'd love to play it on my One S. Cut down on my heating bill. Oh my gosh, Parasito. That's ridiculous. So that one mission we saw last showcase was actually like 3 to 4 different versions of the mission cut together. So yeah, we need raw gameplay. That's exactly what I'm talking about, Benjamin. Listen, you can do splices and cuts like this all day long. This doesn't prove anything to me at this point. I know that you've got a great big vision for your game. I know you've got ideas. You're excited. That's not convincing to me at this point. I need raw gameplay. And I don't just mean raw gameplay. I want somebody there with a controller playing. I want somebody there with a controller playing. Hey, my man Kenpachi is going to get us a little bit closer. He gets us at 6 members for the day. He gifts 5 members. It goes to Liz, Muhammad, Ekal the Great, Spike, Deagle, Zoe, and that's it. That's all 5. Thank you guys so much for being here and getting those gifted members. It won't be on the Series S. No, it'll be on the Series S. Somebody was acting like it was going to be old gen. I don't have one, but I love it. It takes me back to Saturday morning cartoons. Yeah, if you guys like the He-Man shirt, the He-Man shirt comes from 80s Tees. Always remember to use code Lono. Code Lono will get you 30% off at 80stees.com. We want it raw and wriggling. Lono, can you explain why you believe the full view of someone sitting with a controller there is necessary for this game? I have my doubts on performance, but it feels like we're indicting them now. No, listen, I'm gonna be real with you, Omar. I'm gonna be real with you. Certain games, I want that. I want to see somebody holding the controller. I want to see somebody playing. Like, I don't want recorded gameplay at this point. And you want to know why? Because of this video. This video is why I don't want just recorded gameplay. They have proven, just with this video alone, when they release this, they have proven they have no problem pushing out a bunch of different video footage that has 0 performance parity. It's all from different slices of the game. The shadows work different in certain areas. Performance and lighting works different in different areas. Come on, man. If they would have walked out with what looked like raw gameplay up to this point, I wouldn't be saying what I'm saying. I wouldn't. One of the reasons I want them to do it, Omar, is because I feel like this game, more than others, there's a lack of clarity on performance. This is supposed to be a big next-gen game for Xbox, and there's a question mark on whether or not it's going to have 60 FPS. So, yeah, I want somebody holding the controller. That's fair to me. And let me explain to you why I want this. Let me go one step further with my reasoning and my desire. I would prefer to go forward and have these questions answered than to watch another showcase and be like, the game looks great, but I have no idea how it's going to run. The game looks great, but I have no idea if we've seen raw gameplay yet. Right? Like, we won't be any closer to fully understanding where the game stands. Does that make sense? Like, I feel this is just my general feeling. They could walk out in a showcase, a Starfield showcase, and they could blow our hair back. They could just blow our hair back and be like, "Yeah, man, here's all this great footage, here's all this great gameplay," and none of that answers any of my questions, unless of course I've got questions about the systems and they go in and show the systems and, dialogue in action, crafting, traversal, traveling, combat, things like that. It's just as easy to fake those things via video, actual consoles versus dev kits, etc. I feel like people will jump into additional conspiracies. Okay, this is another reason. I like what you're saying, Omar, and let me say another reason why I want raw gameplay and somebody sitting there holding the controller, because then I get to hold them to that standard. I get to hold them to that. Yeah, you showed raw gameplay. You had a guy walk out and play the game. That's my expectation. That's what I expect from this game on my Xbox. I think that's what I want. I want to be able to hold them to a standard, because right now it feels slippery. It's like, well, I have no idea what standard of performance I can even hold you to, because your gameplay is all over the place. I have no idea what I can expect from this game performance-wise. Hilly says raw gameplay might not work in a showcase, like a dude walking across one plant or see one place in the game with this scope. I think they should confirm performance specs, but wouldn't expect raw gameplay. Risky for them if something goes wrong. I mean, so many people typically say things like, we don't necessarily need raw gameplay, or what if something bad happens, right? What if something messes up? They would bring a vertical slice, Hilly. They would bring a vertical slice. They would bring a small slice of the game that would be, surely not having an issue. Do you think they should remake Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic? I don't really have an opinion on that. That's not the subject of today's show. Even if it's a custom scripted mission, the performance needs to be displayed and not on a dev kit. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't feel like I'm asking for the world here. Right? They used raw gameplay in E3 for years with someone playing the game on stage. That's exactly right, Paul. Like, I don't feel like I'm asking for anything crazy here. Omar says that's fair. It's just a different standard than what we have had in the past. So I want to understand your thought process. I would say that they need that standard going forward. I will say this, Omar, and I'm not being a hypocrite. I'm not going to hold every game to this standard. Because every game has not done what Starfield has done. It hasn't. Like, if a PlayStation game trotted out gameplay that looked wonky and looked kind of off, and we were like, what? That didn't even look like it performed that well. 30 FPS? And then they were going to come out with some new showcase? I'd say the same thing. I'd be like, I want to see raw gameplay. The minute you put me and the public and the gaming press into a spiral of like doubt and skepticism about your game because you trotted out gameplay that's questionable, well then you got something to prove. Now you got something to prove. I don't think every game needs to do that. I don't think every game needs to walk out, have a guy holding the controller, show raw gameplay, and convince the public that, like, yeah, this is what Starfield's performance is going to look like. I don't think every game needs to do that. I think Starfield needs to do that because they're the ones that walked out and started talking about their game like it was going to be mind-blowing, like it was going to be a generational game, it was going to be monumental, and then they rolled out gameplay and it was like, okay, it looks good, but I'm seeing issues, I'm seeing stutters, I'm seeing frame rate, I'm seeing weirdness with shadows and lighting. People that are far smarter than me were breaking down the footage and saying these are clearly from completely different vertical slices of the game. That was a He-Man Masters of the Universe shirt? Yes. Jeepers. I thought that was Ken. No. It's He-Man. He's very proud of his body. He's showing it off. I think that they should show a full side quest. Yo, Smashville hitting 22 months and it's a VIP plus. I see no issues with what you're asking. I think they're acceptable concerns. Thank you. It has to be every game... It has to be every game to create an industry standard, otherwise no one will do it. Yeah, I'm not saying that this should be the industry standard. I'm saying, like, look at what we did to the day before. I'm being consistent. The day before, put out footage, and it caused everybody to say, wait a minute, what's going on? Is this real? What's the deal with this game? So what did we ask of the day before? Give us raw gameplay. Let us see this game. Show me somebody on the sticks. And they didn't. They basically just trotted out more misleading footage. Some guy sitting at a computer, casually playing, super slow, super careful, and then they take down the video and claim it got trademark claim. Yeah, bull. They're just liars. I'm doing the same thing to Starfield. We've been waiting. You trotted out gameplay, and it caused tons of questions to arise about performance. So what am I going to say? Give me raw gameplay, because I don't know what you showed us. I don't know how genuine any of that is. I think my personal pushback there would be that Bethesda is a studio with a history and a proven track record. Not right now. No. Very different than the day before and Fantastic, which seems fraudulent. You think after Fallout 76 we owe them goodwill and trust? You think after the launch and the promises made about Fallout 76 we owe Bethesda goodwill and trust? I don't think so. I know it was a different team. But no. You've got something. Let's not get this twisted. They have something to prove. That's not the same team. That's not fair. Same company. Todd Howard's face. Todd Howard's trailer. That's fair as fair gets, brother. Todd Howard walked out and said 16 times the detail, right? Now listen, I'm not going to push Fallout 76 further than that. I think some people push it further and they act like everything that Bethesda's ever made has been trash because of Fallout 76. But Fallout 76 is a part of the equation if you're going to sit here and tell me they have a proven track record. No, they don't. That's what I'm pushing back on. Don't rip it out of context. In the context of the discussion, I was told Bethesda's got a proven track record. No, they don't. No. Nope. They don't have a proven track record. They have a shaky track record. Fallout 76, even Fallout 4 and Skyrim had their own problems and bugs at launch. So no, they don't have a proven track record. If anything, they've proven that my request for raw gameplay is fair. It's fair. Y'all sit here and you trot out some game that's like look at the apparent size and scope of this game. Look at the size and scope of this game. Come on. I'm well within my right to be like, look, man, there's weird stuff in that trailer. There's some funky animations. There's some frame rate issues. There's lighting issues. There's shading issues. We can't even tell if this game's going to run at 60 FPS. I want to see raw gameplay. I'll grant you that they don't need to have some dude standing there with a controller. But I still think I'm well within my right to say, man, give me raw gameplay after all of this. What does raw gameplay mean? So raw gameplay would be, it hasn't been rendered, it hasn't been sliced up, it hasn't been cut up. Point A to B to C to D, right? They're in the game, they show you menus, they show you systems, they walk over to somebody, they do something, they go here, they go here, they go here. Instead of splices or just fully rendered stuff. A lot of the times you're looking at fully rendered gameplay. Chances are it launches like No Man's Sky. I don't think quite that degree. No Man's Sky was a pretty vacant game when it launched, and a lot of that had to do with they lost a lot of production due to a flood in the studio. Guys, we have been live for 30 minutes. Do me a favor and smash the like button. Get us to 200 likes. We've already had 6 members. We are super close to that 2,500 goal. My wife and I will be doing a doubleheader horror game weekend this weekend if you help us hit that goal. We are currently... you guys fell asleep yesterday. Now you need 17. I told y'all weren't going to make it. I told y'all you're not getting your Just Dance stream because now we're in a slip. You're going to add some, lose some. We're going to add some, lose some. Y'all are going to have to go really strong to hit those milestones. We needed 9 yesterday, 10 this morning, 12 when I booted up, and now you need 17. So you're going to have to swing big if you want to hit those milestones before March 2nd, the last day for the member goals. Their track record includes some of the greatest games ever created. I think that earns some confidence. Lone Wolf, that has nothing to do with what I was talking about. You're jumping to other train tracks, Lone Wolf. I ended my show open and said, this could be a special game. This could be a big game. Why? Because of their history. When I'm asking for raw gameplay and someone says they don't need to show you raw gameplay, they have a proven track record. Proven track record of what? Launching games that are rough and not ready? Launching Fallout 76? It sounds to me like raw gameplay is in order. I feel like these are different categories. Yo, Casual Grinder says that's no problem. That's no problem. He says we need 17. I'll add 10 to the pile, taking us to a grand total of 16 for the day. Thank you so much, Casual Grinder, for gifting those 10 members. It went to Jared, Rip Boss, G Money, Stephanie Blaze, Wep Vermin, Mark Patello, Brian Coe, Vettel Alum, TMAJ, and Emmanuel Lopez. Now you need 7. Now you need 7 for Friday. Parasito says, Bethesda had the Bugthesda moniker before Fallout 76. They shipped the minimum viable product with some extra seasoning, and they fix it after the modders already got their hands on it, or if they've gotten live testing data. Thousands of Planets thing has me concerned it's going to be too big with bad optimization. If I'm missing pinned comments and commentary over here, this is mainly a place for me to tell you click the link in my profile and come watch on YouTube. This is just a great way to get our content out there. It's so difficult to look at both. The best way to get interaction and support the stream is to head over to my YouTube profile. Hex is going to add 5 to the pile. Thank you so much, Hex. Appreciate you, my friend. Every time one of my tweets gets like a really quick retweet, I'm like, I bet you it was Hex. Such a faithful dude. I appreciate that so much. It went to Ola, Yes BM, Aditya maybe, Hydrenalin, and Wim. You guys all got gifted members. There you go. Two more. You got to do it quick. Parasito's going to do it. He's like, all right, let's get this. You guys want your horror game doubleheader weekend. I told my wife, I said, we'll probably hit it tomorrow. I said, we're going to have to do 2 streams this weekend. There we go. Thank you, Paris, Logan, Kissifer, Sean, Sergio, and Darren. You guys all got gifted members. That should be enough. For this Friday. We are sitting at 2503. There it is. Okay, you got your doubleheader horror weekend. You guys got it. Now, if you want your Just Dance stream, you got a little bit further to go. 3,000 for the Just Dance stream, 3,500, and I'll do it in an outfit. 4,000 for the beard shave. There's no way you guys are hitting 4,000 members before March 2nd. Casual Grinder says, I'll take that action. He says, I'll take that action. He bumps us to 36 on the day with another 10 gifted members. Me First Please, Dank Fountain, Digic, Brady, Jack Attack, Thavi Strang, Christina, Digi Ross, those are names I recognize. Tyler Short, Pete the Greek, there's another name I recognize. Welcome back in, everybody. We're talking about what we want to see from the Starfield Showcase. The Starfield Showcase announcement is likely coming sometime this week, and I'm walking through. We're debating on if my request for raw gameplay is fair or not. Make sure you guys are smashing the like button as we head towards 500 viewers, man. So many people here. Smashing that thumbs up button helps this video find more folks. If you hit subscribe, you can talk in my chat. Join the conversation. What do you want to see from the Starfield Showcase? Thoughts on Final Fantasy? This is a show about Starfield, so Final Fantasy 16 looks like it's going to be amazing this year, but going full 80s, yeah. Short shorts, a headband, wristbands, leg warmers. I have to wear a tank top because Doc Dark requested it. You guys have got a long way to go, though. 3,500 is out there. You're going to need some of these steeds to stop by. Some of the guys that don't quit and just absolutely overtake chat. You guys have got a long way to go. You need our Lord and Savior Eknor and YouTube Lurker. That you need some of these guys, online MVP and Oscar. You guys have got a long ways to go if you want that to happen. Starfield looks great to me. I've been waiting for Star Citizen for a decade, Lamphao. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I don't think I'm being unreasonable in light of everything that's happened. How much for a head shave? The head hair is never on the table. A bag of Frickmas from Bone Slide Clean, and he uses the Get Fricked code. Congratulations. Today's the last day to use code Get Fricked. Today is the last day to use code Get Fricked. Remove that. Brian, thanks for the $2 tip. Don't put stuff like that in my chat. That's not, no. I run a safe for work channel. What the frick do you think you're doing? Todd's not a good gamer. I'd prefer if they brought some streamer on stage for the first gameplay preview. I don't need a good gamer. I need raw gameplay. That's what I need, right? I need raw gameplay. This is fine. This is just showcasing some semblance of what the game will look like. Okay? This is fine. This was totally fine for last year when they finally debuted some Starfield gameplay. That's not what we need now. I don't need more of this. Right? No worries, Hex. Thanks for stopping by. I don't need more of that. I need raw gameplay. That we need to see what the game will look and run like. That's the question right now. I'm not questioning whether or not Bethesda can make good RPG systems. I want to see those systems, but not necessarily in the showcase. I'd like to see a little bit of the content loop in the showcase, and I'm willing to say, hey, if you guys want to showcase some of these systems later, like the video they did where they sat down with Todd and they talked about dialogue, you can do that later. That's totally fine. There's probably too many systems in this game to jam into one showcase. You got factions, you got dialogue, combat, traversal, gathering, exploring, flying, traveling, building a settlement, right? Campaign, main quest, side quest. There's lots of systems that we haven't seen in action yet, and that's totally fine. That's totally fine. You can save those systems for other videos. That's totally fine. Why not have some of both? I mean, they could certainly have some of both, Lone Wolf, because I did say I'd like to see some of the content loop. Show me what it's like to accept the mission, do the mission, complete the mission. What's it look like when I, clear out an outpost or get some loot or whatever. Yeah, you can do both, but I don't need all of that in the showcase. I need the showcase to convince me that this thing's going to run well. I want to see performance. I want to see performance. I would not just throw anyone up there to play the game. A bad gamer can make gameplay look horrible. Typically, they grab somebody who's super familiar with the game, and he knows where not to go, and he knows what walls not to push on, right? It's a vertical slice. So, it's usually somebody who knows, okay, I know where to go, I know what to do, and then they're able to put on, a good showcase of gameplay. Todd Howard sleeps under the shadow of the Erd Tree. Yeah, I couldn't do a show on that. We need more details than the announcement, so I'm assuming we'll get, hopefully, some more info forthcoming, and then we can do an Elden Ring DLC stream. I couldn't do that this morning. It was literally a tweet. Not being familiar with how to play games, a case study in IGN articles. Yeah, sometimes their showcases of gameplay are terrible because they don't know what the frick they're doing. Starfield already showed us an ugly game with horrible FPS. There's nothing that can be done to improve it. It's too late. Bethesda is trash. Deathlame and Ghostwhack are prime examples. Okay, you understand that Deathloop and Ghostwire aren't from Bethesda, right? Those aren't Bethesda titles. Like, they didn't make those games. And I don't actually think that we have proof that this game is going to be trash or if this is bad. Well, they're not developed by Bethesda. Aren't they published by Bethesda? Because Arcane made Deathloop. That's not Bethesda. Bethesda Game Studios is making Starfield. I don't care that Bethesda published Deathloop and Ghostwire. They didn't develop them. They're Bethesda Softworks published, but they aren't BGS games. Yeah, that's what I was pushing back on, because he's trying to say he's drawing a connection between a buggy, bad game from Bethesda to Deathloop and Ghostwire. There's no straight line there. Get the frick out of here. There's no straight line there at all. Do you think we'll see a starter area for this showcase to intro more of the game? Yeah, maybe. Maybe, like, show us what it's like when you first touch down in the game. Bethesda's why Halo failed. Another order of coffee, a bag of Frickmas, and a bag of Light Rose to TRM15 using that Get Fricked code to get 20% off the Frickmas blend. Thank you very much. No, the comment's dumb, but it's still Bethesda. Right, that's why I pushed back and said they're not Bethesda games, because, like, no one's going to look at Deathloop and say it's a Bethesda game. They're going to say it's an Arcane game. Because it's basically what Dishonored and a handful of other Arcane games jammed into one, right? Nobody played Ghostwire Tokyo and said, "Oh, it was a Bethesda game." But published by Bethesda doesn't typically bring the Bugthesda stigma. It doesn't. How long will the showcase be? I would think 40 minutes, 40 to 45 minutes. If it's less than 30, I would be a little worried. I'd be like, that's not much of a showcase. That's more like a premiered upload. Like, in my mind, a showcase is a showcase, brother. 30 to 40 minutes. You're actually sitting down and talking to us. You're playing the game, right? Bethesda's known for buggy games, but that's because the experiences are so vast. Not expecting an optimized experience from a company that doesn't prioritize graphics but experiences. I am the first one when I play an open world game to say it's not a big deal if there's bugs and glitches. It's par for the course. That's not what I'm concerned about. Listen, I'm not concerned about pop-in or a rock glitching out or an enemy falling through the map or something. I'm not worried about that. A game this size and a game of this scope, you're going to have bugs and glitches. None of what I am saying has anything to do with that. I want raw Starfield new gameplay because I want to know performance. Performance is not the same as bugs and glitches. Performance is frame rate, movement, the weight of the guns, what's the shooting look and feel like, what's traversal look and feel like. That has nothing to do with periodic open world bugs and glitches. I want to see performance, right? One of the things I liked when we got all that Elden Ring footage, you got to see some of the combat in action, the movement, the swings, the animations. But I knew it's a FromSoft game. There might be some frame pacing issues. It's open world. There might be some weird bugs and glitches in the open world. Those two things are in different categories. I'll bet 20 gifted subs that even if they do pre-rendered for Starfield, they'll have a good bit of pruning done with lighting. LOD and particle effects to the point that there's popping and FX chop. Your asks are perfectly suitable, says Malcolm. They definitely have to show raw gameplay or maybe a side mission to see how the game flows naturally, not sliced gameplay. That's what I was driving at, Malcolm. I don't want a bunch of slices. I don't want a bunch of clips. You already did that. I'm already convinced by this that the game could be amazing. That this is a bunch of slices and a bunch of shots of the game. You got me. I'm convinced. I'm like, this game could be awesome. Now I want to see the game in action. I want to see somebody playing the game. My problem with a lot of these discussions is that too many gamers only see three categories: trash, mid, and game of the year. That's it, says Derek. It's an absurd way to talk about a hobby or an industry. It's very unhelpful. Right. I do think people get very dichotomous. Exactly. I do. Alan Rogers says, I'm worried about the frame rate being tied to game physics. Yeah. I think that's another concern. That's another concern is that they, again, that's tied, that's performance. I want to see this. I want to see flying around, man. What's it like? Trichotomous. Yeah, I guess that's not dichotomous, that's trichotomous. Anyway. Half an hour of new footage at the showcase minimum? No. It doesn't need to be 30 minutes of footage, right? It doesn't need to be 30 minutes of footage. I'm thinking you have a 30-minute showcase, and roughly when you add up all the new footage, it's around 15 to 20 minutes of new footage. I'd be good with that. Anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes of new footage. The showcase ends up being 30 minutes. Because some of that, I'm happy for them to talk and loop the footage. I'm fine with that. I'm totally fine with that. If you want to take your Starfield gameplay and kind of loop certain portions and give us some commentary and talk about certain things, man, I don't need 30 minutes straight. I don't need that. I don't. But I want gameplay, real, raw gameplay, not slices, not splices, I don't want any of that. I'm expecting a big deep dive of the game, similar to how they usually show games in the past, like Skyrim, most likely 30 minutes. Kaiser says 1 hour showcase, 50 minutes of talking crap, 10 minutes of gameplay. I don't think they'll do that. Oh my gosh, that would be terrible. They will show new screen shots, I think is what you meant to say. That's what you meant in total, okay. It's playable, that's enough? What do you mean it's playable, that's enough? That's not... If you went to rent a car and the guy behind the counter said, listen, I know the car out there is looking a little rough, but it's drivable, that's enough. Would you give him your money? Would you? You'd look at the car and it'd be a rust bucket and a little bit of smoke coming from the back, and you're like, is that thing okay? Am I gonna die by getting in that? Listen, it drives. That's good enough, okay? It runs. No, It's Bethesda will have some bugs. Listen to me, please. I'm not talking about bugs. I'm not. I am absolutely not saying anything this morning about it better not have bugs, right? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying I want to get a very good grasp. I want to showcase, give me a glimpse of performance. I want that. Like, how does the game run? I want to see a character land on a planet, get out of their ship, go to an NPC, grab a mission, run around, do stuff, shoot stuff, grab stuff. I want to see performance, bro. What's the frame rate? What's the movement? How the guns feel? We need raw gameplay, bro. I think some people are forgetting, right? Some people are forgetting that Starfield walked out into the world, into the showroom last year in the summer, and they finally showed us the game. This is it. This is their best. It's their best footage. It's their best gameplay. And it was rough around the edges. It was honest. I think it won points with me because it's like, this is honest. This is not smooth. This has got rough edges. So they definitely won points with me. It's like, okay, all right. This isn't a bunch of fully rendered fake crap that we've seen so many companies do. So they win some points with me. But if that was their best, I have concerns. And I want to see raw gameplay. I do. We're talking about a game that's meant to be one of the new flagships of the Xbox ecosystem. This is supposed to be a big win for Microsoft, you know? Like, I'm excited for the DLC announcement as well. Welcome back, Sorcerer, with your VIP. I was like, this man's gifting members and his name is gray? What is going on? As a reminder, you guys hit 2,500 members. The next goal for the Just Dance stream is 3,000. So we did hit that. You will get your double-header horror game weekend. We'll do it this weekend. We're going to continue The Devil in Me. My wife and I will complete that. We should be able to do that between Friday and Saturday. Performance and gameplay are key. We've waited long enough, says Jay Lewis. Sneaky Spencer and Todd Howard have the chance to really make some noise this year. They have had plenty of time, and they have plenty of money. Somebody else said something. It's a pretty long paragraph. Yeah, Malcolm Flex says, you're being reasonable. I think some people are just too emotionally tied to be objective. I absolutely love Bethesda games. They're my favorite, but that doesn't mean I'm going to accept anything. Right. That's the point, is if this game is going to deliver on the experience that they're promising, listen, I played No Man's Sky on the PSVR 2 last night. There are amazing experiences that can be had out there. I'm going to play it today for members. I'm not going to do a public stream of it because it probably wouldn't do very well, right? Maybe it would. Maybe I'm wrong, but today's probably not going to be a great day for us to do anything other than this talk show, and then I'll go hang out with members. There's reasons for that, and I'm probably not even going to do Hogwarts today. It just isn't going to be worth the frustration. Y'all are going to turn this place into a ghost town midday. So, there are great games and experiences that can be had out there, okay? This game is promising to be one of them. And I don't think it can do that if it's got jittering, stuttering, 30 FPS. No frustration with Hogwarts, no. Maybe I'm lost. Maybe I should have just actually played today and just been like, we don't need to hold back. But I didn't feel like trying to play Hogwarts this afternoon and having an abysmal turnout. We've grown this channel quite a bit since we used to cover another game, and Hogwarts, the turnouts for Hogwarts have been incredible. Maybe I'm stupid. I might be being stupid right now. We've really turned the corner and have a lot of different people hanging out. Maybe I should have just been like, nah, we're going to play Hogwarts today. I suppose I could. I could just reuse an old stream setting. I'm actually on your side today, says JC. The eclipse is forming. I think Starfield has a lot of potential. Usually, I usually love Bethesda games. Yeah, like, if there's... Starfield can't deliver It's promises, right? Glad you said it. You're being stupid. The community here isn't the size it used to be. Well, we'll put that to the test today, Abe. We'll see. We'll see. I can't go into a game of this size and scope and have it performing poorly. It will ruin the experience. And I know what people always say. You're focusing too much on the graphics. 30 FPS is fine. No, it's not. It's not. And you can't red herring your way out of this. Oh, there's going to be bugs, Lono. It's fine. There's going to be bugs. I'm not talking about bugs. This section's one of the best sections to watch. That looked bad to me. Not a consistent frame rate. Not smooth. It just doesn't look that great. It looks jittery. Like, I don't want to play a game like that. I didn't buy a Series X to play a game like that. I played games that look and ran like that a really, really, really long time ago. You know? Yeah, I played Resident Evil on the PSVR 2. I didn't like it. It was too much. It was too immersive. It messed with me. I needed like a minute to come down from it. It bothered me. That's a good testimony. If you want to play horror games on PSVR 2, oh my gosh, you're in for a freaking treat. Wear a diaper and a heart monitor. Golly. I bought my Series X to play Halo Infinite. Hogwarts Legacy is the best thing since sliced bread. I'm not going anywhere. Frick that. All right, okay. Still going to do members? Yeah, we'll still do members with some No Man's Sky. We'll still do some members with some No Man's Sky. Yeah. I want you guys to see it. The video that you just showed, Lono, what platform was it on? Because if that's on PC, it's super concerning how this is going to run on console. Another really good reason to ask for raw gameplay, Abe. This is likely vertical slice footage on a PC. Right? That's vertical slice PC footage if I've ever seen it before, right? And it had some trouble. Yo, Space Dovahkiin with a $2 tip. You're playing Hogwarts Legacy like that and loving it. That's right. Vengeance with 18 months of membership. I'm excited for Starfield. I'll be playing on PC because I'm afraid it'll be 30 FPS on my Series S. I just hope the game is good. If not, I'll at least be able to play Diablo 4. Yeah, I suppose we could all just run tuck tail and just play Diablo 4 if this game's no good. Not gonna lie, I'm off to play. No, I know that, Mo. Big Mole one, but I don't know if there's that many people that are gonna do that today. When we first started this channel with live streaming, we only had like 6,000 subscribers. We now have 25,000. So there's probably enough people here that are like, we don't play that game. Who cares? You do your thing, man. Do you think this game will have Skyrim staying power? I actually do. And I'm going to give you one guess as to why I think this game will have Skyrim staying power. One guess, one word. What is it? It's not a very big word. It's actually a shortened version of a big word. What if you had to guess why I think this game will have staying power, what do you think it is? What's going to lead to this game having staying power? Lone Wolf got it. Yep, mods. Yep. Guys got it. Mods. This game is going to be, and it's just going to be a mod's heaven. A modder's heaven. Like the playground that they're giving you, the abilities, the potential, right? Like, is pretty significant, right? It's pretty significant. There's a lot. Game mods. Yeah. We calling for moderators? No. Wheezy's like, what's going on in chat? It's mod spam. Yeah, G-Dog got it over here on the Tickety Talk. Modders. That's right. What's my favorite Bethesda game? I would probably actually pick Fallout. Skyrim. I found this channel yesterday. I enjoyed seeing previous episodes. Thank you, Rodrigo. I appreciate that very much. I appreciate that support. Let's get some more likes. Let's get some more members. Let's keep this stream going. Let's have a strong day. We had a killer day yesterday. Let's have another one today. Thank you guys so much for being here. we hit a big milestone, and our shorts is finally doing well. Yesterday, the short apparently didn't exist according to YouTube, and today's is doing just fine. Well, no, it did okay. I don't know what they did to shorts. They're motivating me to not do them. Those skin shaders are abysmal in this game. Everyone looks like corpses in caskets. I don't think so. Hang on. This is a good section to combat what you're saying. Not Todd Howard. We all know he's good looking. They all look great. Eugene says they're too shiny, but I think it's fine. I think it's a pretty common execution of character design, character appearance, skin texture, clothing texture. I think it looks good. I think the characters and the NPCs look good. I'm be fatter than a MMF. The dead eyes. They do have the dead-eyed stare, but I want to defend the dead-eyed stare because there's a little bit of a dead-eyed stare in Hogwarts Legacy as well. And I think people just need to remember that games like this, games of this size, it's all automated. So they have to create characters, facial design, facial feature design, movement, all of that has to work within an automated system. Your character and the other characters need to be able to walk around and look and move and all of a sudden start talking. And that automation can't be handcrafted. You aren't going to get character design in games like this where so much is automated, it's not possible. Look at the number of NPCs and dialogue trees and all the different things you can talk about in Hogwarts Legacy. That is a matchbook compared to this game. Hogwarts Legacy, dialogue trees and dialogue options and the interactions you have with NPCs, it is nothing compared to Starfield. It's nothing compared to Starfield. So, of course, all that stuff's going to be automated and look a little robotic and look a little mannequin. You have to look at games in context. If you look at a game in context, you can't expect a game like Starfield to have a bunch of handcrafted faces, mo-capped faces, and for everybody to look real. It's not that kind of game. How long till we get a Starfield MMO? I don't know if they have plans to do a Starfield MMO. I don't see this coming to PlayStation anymore since Microsoft and PlayStation are still fighting each other. I mean, Microsoft and PlayStation quote-unquote fighting each other has nothing to do with whether or not they have plans to put their software on other platforms. Starfield 76. You can add a helmet check and make the eyes track automatically. A vector calculation or two won't break the bank for the sake of immersion, nor will adding some of the shininess to the eyes. Well, some of it could be the engine, Parasito. Some of it could be the creation engine that just limits some of those things that they can do. I don't know. Garlo says Starfield's going to be great on the Series S. I hope it's great for you. I don't think it will be. I hope it's great for you. Good morning. I can see Starfield ending up on PlayStation within a year after it's pushed on Game Pass. Microsoft needs to make back its investment. Yeah, we've debated Starfield on PlayStation quite a bit, and I think it'll end up on PlayStation. People think I'm nuts. They'll call me names. They think I'm out of touch. I'm like, that's fine. That's fine. I've not all of my predictions come true. They don't. And the Starfield coming to PlayStation prediction, I know that's one of the thinner, more difficult predictions that I've made. I do. I will readily admit that Starfield coming to PlayStation is a thin one. It's a thin one. But their strategy with software is changing. Their strategy with games is changing. And Pete Hines waffled in an interview and said, "I don't know." That guy's the head of publishing at Bethesda. If there's somebody that should have a firm answer on that, it should be him, and he didn't. And I think that's kind of like the writing on the wall. You already see the "I told you so" thumbnail. Listen, everybody that's laughing at me, it's not happening, there's no way. you owe me $5 when it does, and then I'll retire, because there's so many of you that think I'm like out of my head with this prediction. If it happens, I'll make some good money. Your hair is mid, but I agree. This will run like absolute trash pan on the Series S. Why are you hating on the Xbox? I doubt it heavily comes to PlayStation, but there's always a chance. Ultimately, I think both Sony and Microsoft will become publishers at some point. Why are they all acquiring studios and IP? Yeah, I don't think Sony's got interest in becoming a publisher. I will give you $1,000 if Starfield ever comes to PS5. I don't think it's ever happening. I can't wait for that tip to come through. That'll be amazing. Tell you what, instead of giving me $1,000, gift, that'd be like what? Like, is that like 500 members? Gift members instead. Yeah, gift members instead. Oh, right? How many would that be? That'd be like 5,000 members, would it not? No, 200 members. It's 200 members. Sorry. It's too early in the morning for math. 200 members. Which we need a lot. We need a lot. I'm giving you guys until March 2nd on those member goals. You guys got a ways to go. You did great this morning. We started out strong and we hit 2,500 though. Lono's already spending his winnings. 5,000 members with $1,000 bucks? I didn't say 5,000. I said 500. Quick maths. With Microsoft seemingly going to the purely game route, Starfield will go to PlayStation. I mean, I think that's a possibility because of their new strategy. I do. It's, you know. What membership tier is that? Sub-Zero? Future Bethesda games exclusive to Xbox PC Game Pass. They will easily make money physical sales-wise, just like Forza Horizon 5 and Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite did not have strong physical or commercial sales. Forza Horizon 5, I think, we don't know. I don't know if we know commercial sales, but you have to consider the fact that everything you're saying, Blaze, is so difficult to pull off because they have 25 million people that don't have to buy the game. So, no. I don't think so. I don't think future Bethesda games will, quote-unquote, easily make money back. Physical sales, like, no. Starfield's not going to have a strong commercial presence. It just isn't. They're throwing it on Game Pass. That immediately cuts its legs off. Yeah, and Forza brags about player count. That's right. I don't know if they ever hit any physical sales chart numbers that are worth. And also, you got to consider that was before the entire ecosystem was flooded with people getting on Game Pass for $1 and are looking to never buy games ever again on the platform. Satya himself said they don't need to put their games on PlayStation to recoup. I'm going to take the boss's word over Pete. Okay, when did he say that and what was he talking about? When did he say that and what was he talking about? Because I'm not saying they need to do it to recoup. I'm saying they've indicated in the last 2 weeks that their entire strategy is changing. You can't listen to Brad Smith walk out at a press conference and say that the future is cross-platform. And Phil Spencer said probably a month before that, we're going to see less exclusives going forward. You can't hear all that and be like, no, they're never going to put games on PlayStation. They don't need to, according to this one quote, one time. Like, why was he saying that and what was he talking about? Yeah, the hands-ons are rolling out. The more that Starfield delays, especially with the Game Pass release, I have a growing feeling that Bethesda is going to be dissolved into something else Microsoft has in the back pocket. Yeah, I really don't help. I really hope that doesn't happen. They're treating ABK like they do with Minecraft. Their other publishers are exclusive. And it makes sense since I don't think ABK will ever do an exclusive title, Overwatch, WoW, COD. Right, no. I know that their plans for ABK are going to mirror what they did with Mojang and Minecraft, okay? But I also think it's incredibly weird that they went from claiming that like future Elder Scrolls and Starfield are Xbox titles, and then you have Pete Hines shrugging his shoulders and saying, I don't know. Like, I don't know, man. Funny because Satya was all for Microsoft software on everything that can run it. He's the reason Xbox games come to PC day one now. The more I think about Game Pass, the more Bethesda purchase makes no sense. The games have big draw, but people live in them. Odd for Microsoft to acquire them in hindsight. This looks amazing and is running well. What are those gameplay footages from? Is that from Final Fantasy, Eugene? Brad Smith also corrected his stance and showed the deal was for COD only, not all games in general. Wait. Where was that corrected, Malcolm? Because that's what I originally said. I originally said that Nintendo thing said COD. And then people were like, oh no, but Brad Smith's tweet. Did Brad Smith correct that and say that the contract with Nintendo is only for Call of Duty? So was I right then in my original coverage? Mojang handed over a contract of ownership in a whole other manner than ABK did. Mojang wanted to keep all their publishing rights for that deal to even go through. Brad corrected it in an interview that Nintendo is just COD. So his tweet was incorrect. I thought it was weird. I honestly thought it was weird. I was like, wait a minute. You guys have an official image that you're out there circulating for the press to use, and your image is incomplete? Why wouldn't you say Xbox games on the image? It's just COD. It was retweeted afterwards. Okay. Lono's pronunciation of Mojang is killing me. What is it? Mojang? I thought it was... Oh, it's not like... We've been through this before. Mojang or whatever. Or I forget how you're supposed to frickin' say it. Who cares? Minecraft. I can say that. Do you think at this time Starfield has the potential to be a Game of the Year nominee? Oh, it's Mahjong? Yo, nobody hitting 11 months of membership. I know it's not relevant, but you guys see the Elden Ring announcement? We did. Sadly, that's all it is. Hopefully we get more info this week, so I can't do a show on a tweet. Take a closer look at the preview clips. The different vertical slices seem to be doing entirely different frame scheduling for particles and lighting across their own video. That's what I'm saying, Parasito. The Starfield gameplay that we've seen up to now, it literally has been combed over by people that have said things like that. They're like, these are all completely different vertical slices. This is why, in my show open, I said I want raw gameplay, right? Starfield, raw gameplay. I need to know that I'm looking at the genuine article. Tell me where the frick the O is coming from. What do you mean? What O? When I say Mojang? I don't know. Like, Zhang, It's almost like the letter A can go Mojang, It's almost like A has different pronunciations. You know what would go good with this discussion? Drinking a coffee with balanced acidity. Any suggestions? Yeah, Reforge Roast. You can go to reforgeroast.com and you can get our coffee. If you've never tried coffee with balanced acidity, you actually should try it because it's extremely smooth. There's zero bitterness. Mojang. Lono, Dark Roast is a mocha pot. Bruh, game changer. Oh, Dark Roast in a mocha pot. I don't know what that is. If you guys are just tuning in, we've been talking about the Starfield showcase announcement. It's apparently coming this week. Starfield's the next day before? No, I don't think so. But the reason I'm asking for raw gameplay is related to the day before. The day before walked out into the market and its gameplay was combed over and there was tons of questions about its legitimacy. Starfield has had a very similar experience. The Starfield gameplay that's been combed over since summer of 2022, many people have pointed out that there's different things going on with the lighting, the shading, the particle effects. It's like a bunch of different vertical slices spliced together, which is why I said I need the Starfield showcase to show me new Starfield gameplay, but it can't just be that. Starfield new gameplay is exciting. It's awesome. But I need it to be raw gameplay. I need to know that I'm looking at the genuine article. I need to know that I am not staring at some spliced up, marketed up, cut up thing. That doesn't prove anything to me. You've already done that. Now, I had other things in my showcase top 5. I think they need to establish performance. Establish performance. How is the game going to run? That's been a major point of speculation. Are we even going to be able to get 60 FPS in this game? How's it going to run in the open world versus the small areas? How's it going to run in the very crowded areas? Listen, if you've got a Series S and you're like, I don't really care about performance, this is one of the few times where I think you're going to not say that. I don't think you're going to say that. You're going to say, yeah, I think performance matters, because bad performance in this game will be noticeable. It will be. Was this you and anything that got to do with Microsoft? What did Abe say? I don't even see what Abe said about Microsoft. Oh, it's a coffee maker. It makes espresso-like coffee, amazing with the dark roast. Oh, there you go. That's how it does it. He posted a picture in the Discord. I want the Star Wars feeling of outposts and backwaters, hives of scum and villainy. Dropping Game Pass like a habit, you can buy more games. But why? Why wouldn't you just pick up Game Pass whenever it's time to play games like Starfield? Save yourself the money. Whoever remembered me, thank you, sir. Yeah, we had people already gift members this morning. I owe you guys 5. Every 25 members, I owe you 5. And we've already started out strong. We've already hit 2,500. I just realized that I received a membership. Thank you. Listening while at work. Yes, welcome on in, Stephanie Blaze. You guys hit 2,500 members, so that means you unlock the double-header horror weekend. My wife and I will be playing The Devil in Me this Friday and Saturday night, just for members. Make sure you're there. Those are always a really fun time. We've played New Hope, The Quarry, and Until Dawn. There's complete playthroughs of those 3 games. I didn't realize we did another complete playthrough of one. It was the one called New Hope. I just realized, I already read that. My ray tracing. Bethesda usually always shows gameplay for their trailers, so we should get some good stuff. Yeah, Starfield on the Series S, can't wait. Can't wait to see how well it runs, or is that where you're going to play it, Kenneth? Starfield will be better to own instead of renting. I don't know if I agree with that, Robert. If you can sign up for Starfield, if you can sign up for Game Pass for 1 month for $10, you can play Starfield that entire month, and for many people, that's all they need. They'll do one complete playthrough, they'll play the story, they'll make a build, they'll experience it, and then they'll walk away. There's plenty of people that, I think at one level you're right, Robert. I think for some people, yeah, they're going to want to own this game because there's going to be 8 different playthroughs that they're going to want to do. But there's also people that'll play it over the course of a month and be like, that's good, I got through the story, that's all I needed. I think people break into kind of 2 categories with games like this a lot of the times. Brownie with 5 months of membership. Whoever gifted, thank you. Been the best 5 months I've had on YouTube. Thank you and welcome back, Brownie. I can't finish Starfield in a month. Yeah, I couldn't finish Starfield in a month. There's no way. There's no way. I mean, like I said, I think there's people that will. They'll just beeline the story. They just want to experience another Bethesda game. You know, they just want to have another like RPG Fallout sort of story experience, you know. You just said it, my friend. It's coming to Game Pass. 30 FPS Starfield going to kill Xbox Game Pass. It's killing Xbox. I don't know if I'm saying that. I got a little shot of my man Doc Dark this morning. You know, he makes a video saying, like, Call of Duty is basically paying for Sony first-party exclusives, which I think he's being a little hyperbolic. I don't necessarily think that that's true. I do think Sony makes a ton of money from Call of Duty, but I also think Sony makes a ton of money on their first-party exclusives, and then they reinvest it in their first parties. But I left him a comment. You know, it's like, yeah, all this money coming in there, you know, it's helping to pay for those first-party exclusives on the PlayStation. I was like, yeah, it's kind of funny what you can do when you foster an ecosystem where people buy games, you know? It's kind of funny. Look what you can do. You can invest all that money in your first-party games. That's a cult talking point. Yeah, it sounded like who said this? Who put this bug in your ear? You know? And even if it's true that they make a ton of money from Fortnite and Call of Duty, you know, they fostered an ecosystem where people spend money. That's how they got Fortnite to bend the knee on crossplay. So, yeah, it's crazy what game purchases do for your economy and investing in your first-party titles. Isn't that nuts what happens? The difference in the rendering for the slices, says Parasito in the clip, brings me back to Lono's desire to see performance while not caring about bugs. It's very likely that the line between the two will be extremely blurry given what we've already seen, plus Creation Engine's history, just like things like render culling, frame scheduling, the possibility of FPS-bound physics, etc. There's the potential that bugs are both upstream and downstream of performance issues. Right. Like in my mind, when I think of bugs, I think of like, oh yeah, there's going to be rocks and holes and broken portions of the map. Sure. But I also think that what matters way more to me is that when I'm roaming around and doing stuff, that the game doesn't run like a piece of trash. But what Parasito's talking about is exactly why I want to see raw gameplay. You've sliced up so many different slices, so many different cuts of your game. I don't even know what I'm looking at. I could be looking at 4 different teams' attempts to build Starfield, as far as I can tell. Xbox is trying something that hasn't been done in this space. Sony's doing the tried and true. I think Xbox deserves credit for that. Maybe. Sometimes innovation is not worth applauding because it's disruptive and damaging. You mean demanding free games for years isn't really panning out? I cannot believe it. I can see buying Game Pass for a month to test it out, says Chapter 8, if we aren't confident in the gameplay performance by then. Most people who already have Game Pass will do that before buying the game outright. Well, and here's the thing, like, I don't necessarily know if a lot of people I wonder if a lot of people are going to feel that pull to say it's all right. No, this is a good argument point. This is a good place to take the discussion. One of the reasons that Microsoft and Bethesda should want to put out a bunch of raw gameplay and why they should want to put out a bunch of information about the systems and the depth and the longevity and the substance of this game. Do you want to know why? Because you don't want people getting on Game Pass to quote-unquote try this game because they're unsure about it. You want to foster confidence in Starfield. Look, man, I'm not going to get that thing on Game Pass. No way. Game's too big. Game's too big. And then the people that are already on Game Pass, guess what? You want them to feel that value. Oh my gosh, the game's so big, I'll be able to just play it on Game Pass for month after month after month. You hit both consumers if you establish confidence in Starfield gameplay performance, as well as depth, substance, longevity, how big the game is. All of those things are important because you need both types of consumers to feel that level of confidence going into the game. If you already have Game Pass, you need to be like, this is going to be a great value to me. Unrelated, are you excited for Diablo 4? I'm very excited for Diablo 4. We'll be doing pretty extensive coverage and gameplay when it launches on my main channel. You can find that by going to my profile and click the link to come over to YouTube. That's one of the better places to follow and watch all my content. We just throw the talk show over here live on my phone so I can meet new people. Giving games for free or Xbox has no games, which one is it? Well, yeah, I mean, you're being cheeky. I've never run with the narrative that they have no games. I've run with the narrative that their cadence of first-party games has been very bad. The Diablo Lo-Fi was a vibe. Are they doing a Diablo live stream today? Shoot, we forgot all about that. What time is that? That is today. They're doing a developer stream today, and I completely frickin' forgot about it. They tweeted about it. Tune in tomorrow, 11 a.m. That's at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That's pretty late. That's pretty late for me. I don't know if I can get there. I don't know if we're gonna have enough steam to get there. It's gonna be tough for us. I'm assuming they're also gonna be streaming it on their YouTube channel. There goes No Man's Sky. I mean, we could conceivably just cut and say no Hogwarts. Let's just go to members. We'll do a little No Man's Sky. I'll have my lunch. We'll bide our time, and then at 1:30 we could head over and do a co-stream of the Diablo. I would need to make a thumbnail and all that. I could do that during members. Guys, if you're enjoying this talk show, we're talking about the Starfield showcase announcement. Give me 24 more likes on this video. Let's get 300 likes. Let's turn this stream up a notch. Let's turn it up a notch. We've been live for about an hour and a half. A lot of people have been piling in. If you want to add to the conversation, hit subscribe. I want to know what you think. What do you think they need to do for this showcase to do well? What do they need to do for this showcase to do well? What do you want to see from this showcase? Be sure to leave a comment in chat. We've been debating. I've been saying that I want to see raw gameplay, right? The gunplay looks kind of garbo. That's another reason I want to see raw gameplay. It's not just, oh, am I going to get 60 FPS? My 60 FPS? Like, I don't want that to be the new meme about my content. Like, I need my 60 FPS. No. I want to see performance. How do the guns feel? How does movement feel? Right? How does grabbing loot like this? Like, we get one little snapshot like that. What's a gun look like in the menu? I want to go and see all those things. Xbox faithful criticizing devs for criticizing the Series S, yet then the supported dev who was critical for the PS3 for essentially the same issue, and then those devs had to deal with it. System design. Yeah. Apparently, the Larian head of publishing got on Reddit, I guess, to claim that the Series S is not the problem, which I think is a hilarious backpedal. That is a hilarious backpedal. Oh, so you just told the public that you can't get split screen co-op to the same standard on the Series S and the Series X, but it has nothing to do with the memory bottleneck of the Series S. Cool. That's awesome to know that you're really bad at your job. That's excellent. Thank you for admitting that it's not the bottleneck on the Series S. You're just not good at what you're supposed to be doing. Why would anybody want to play the game now? I tried to tell y'all it's not the Series S. No, I don't believe him. He's playing a diplomatic game. Why didn't he tweet it? Why won't he do an interview? Go do an interview. Go officially on record. Don't go to Reddit and say, oh, it's not the Series S. I can't even corroborate and confirm that he said that on Reddit, by the way. I went to his Twitter. He didn't say anything. He's not done an interview. They've not done an official response. They sent an official response, and they said, we can't get co-op split screen to the same standard on the Series S and the Series X. To turn around and be like, oh, but it's not the Series S's fault, you suspect. I don't believe you. You literally cite the fact that there's two versions of the Xbox, and you can't get it to the same standard on them, but it's not the weaker one's fault. Well, what in the frick are you doing, man? Brian M. says, show us one planet, visit a city, an outpost, the countryside, interact with NPCs, factions, wildlife, show weather and climate, then might drop by telling us to multiply it by 1,000. Probably just their development pipeline and porting over to the PlayStation is taking them time to figure out. So it's porting to PlayStation that's the problem? That doesn't make any sense. It's a PC game being ported to console, and it somehow is the PlayStation's fault. Porting from PlayStation is taking them time to figure out. PlayStation has a launch date for Baldur's Gate 3, by the way, so I don't know what that even means. Goalpost, considerate move. So his word is a lie? We can't be doing that until they say, yes, it's the weaker one's fault? We can't assume? What do you mean? I'm reading what they said at face value. I'm reading what he said at face value. They told the public, we can't get split-screen co-op to the same standard on the Series S and the Series X. They cite the two different consoles, and then they say they can't get it to the same standard. Now your head of publishing, allegedly, I can't confirm this, he allegedly went to Reddit to say, no, it's not the Series S. Sure. Yeah, sure. I don't believe you. I don't. I've no reason to believe you. They never said it was because of the Series S that they're having problems. Could be a host of issues. Yeah, I know. They didn't literally say it was the Series S. They just said they can't get performance parity between the Series X and the Series S, but it's not the Series S's fault. It just isn't worth. No one has the link, the thread name. Yeah, he just said it on he just left a comment. I would love to see this guy do an official interview and explain why it's not the Series S's fault then. Give me a technical breakdown. He's been under threads on Twitter as well, saying it wasn't the S when people posted it was about the S. I don't believe him. He's the head of publishing. He's not a developer. I don't believe him. I don't. Their official technical explanation, you can't get parity between the S and the X. That's all we need to know. You want to walk it back? This is the same guy that got mad at Jez Corden for calling it a delay. That's the same person we're talking about. He got persnickety and pedantic on Twitter, and he scolded Jez Corden for saying it was a delay. That's the same person that we're talking about. I don't believe him. He's not compelling. He got all snippy and persnickety on Twitter. It's delayed. Your version for the Xbox is delayed. I don't care what kind of weird goalpost shift you want to move. Oh, and now he's in Twitter threads and Reddit saying it's not the Series S? He's not a compelling person. He's not convincing. No, I'm not convinced. Listen, even if you want to use logical backflips to say it's not the Series S's fault, the fact that Microsoft launched two versions of their console is quite literally at the central focal point of their post. We can't get split-screen crossplay, split-screen co-op to the same standard on the Series S and the Series X. So if there wasn't two versions of the Xbox, this wouldn't be happening. You'd have one version to get this thing working on for. Calling the man a liar? No, I'm not. Calling him a liar. Sit in timeout, you Xbot. That's what you are, Prosy. I almost never use that term, but you're an Xbot. You stay quiet all day yesterday and today, and when I say I don't believe him, you say calling him a liar. Frick you. You're on a thread. I don't like people like you. False summaries. Frick off. I can say I don't believe somebody without calling them a liar. I'm not compelled. You clearly are having problems with the game. And the guy that goes after Jez Corden for calling it a delay is now saying it's not the Series S's fault. He doesn't seem like somebody I'm gonna believe his word. No. Because he's trying to do these goalpost moves of, well, it's not a delay. What is it then? What is it? What did we call it when Hogwarts Legacy had old gen versions that didn't have the same release date as the game? What do we call that? The industry called that a delay. So when you have a version for the Xbox that's not going to come when the other versions come, what do we call that? That's a delay. So if that same guy is going to do goalpost shifting and be like, nah, it's not the S. It's not the S. I don't believe him. I don't need to call him a liar. That's not compelling. It's not convincing. It isn't. It isn't convincing at all. Microsoft made a huge mistake making the Series S so much weaker than the Series S. Should have made the Series S the same as the X. How is it the Series S's fault when there's multiple SKUs of low specs that are below the Series S's requirement, which is what I was trying to say yesterday? Yeah, we went round and round and you refused to listen to the fact that that has nothing to do with porting to a completely different ecosystem. So no one has a thread name, no one can source the claim? Yeah, I'll go to his Twitter account right now. I guarantee you I can't, I forget his name. Dadgummit. Maybe it's still in my Discord. I had him in my search and it's not there anymore. I don't have it. I don't have his Twitter name. I go to his Twitter feed right now and I bet you I can't. Oh no, right. He's here. Who to follow? I have a sneaking suspicion that none of his tweets say anything about the Series S. None of them. Yeah, look at that. I'm on his reply page, scrolling all the way down to before the announcement. I don't see a single tweet of him correcting anybody on the Series S. So provide me with the link, or you just came into my chat and flat out told a lie. He was on Twitter correcting people and saying it wasn't the Series S. Can't find a single tweet of him doing that. Can't find a single tweet. I just went to his reply page and searched for the word Series S. Nothing. Not a single tweet in reply to anybody about that. Yo, it's good, Von Raz. Like, this happens all the time. Every single time these discussions have happened, right? And yes, this is related to Starfield. Don't get this twisted. We're not well off the course of conversation, right? I'm basing on what you said from Reddit. I had someone allege in my comments that he went to Reddit and said it wasn't the Series S. Can anybody find it? Can anybody find it? I was told that he said it on his Twitter. Can't find it. I can't find it. This happens every time these discussions come up. Oh, it's been debunked. It's been debunked already, Lono. It has? Where? Oh, it's somewhere. Like, where? Where's it been debunked? Where? And where's the technical explanation? I don't want some diplomatic PR backpedal. I want a technical explanation as to why this sentence doesn't mean it's the Series S's fault. That's what I want to see. Explain that to me. All of this is why I want to see raw Starfield new gameplay. All of it. That's what I want to see. Lono Breathe, you have an awesome shirt on. Listen, I got to talk to some of y'all. This is what I do. When you come in here and condescendingly mother me and tell me to calm down or take a breath, go watch episodes of Mr. Rogers if this is too intense for you. This is what I do. It's annoying to constantly look at chat and see people mothering me. I'm just going to start banning you. It's annoying, and you're talking down to me. So either go watch Mr. Rogers and have a nice cup of tea and chill, or stay and enjoy the fireworks. This is quite literally part of my brand. That's what we're talking about right now with the Series S and Baldur's Gate is literally why this is why I want raw gameplay of Starfield. It's why. Like, I have no idea how this thing's gonna run. We got a game coming out that's like, look, bro, yeah, it has split screen on PC, Paul. You're just getting your shirt complimented? No, he told me to breathe. Come on, Lono, breathe. You have an awesome shirt on. Why you tell me to breathe? Come on. Come on. Told me to breathe. Seems like Baldur's Gate man got a little corporate backhand for opening his mouth too much, and now he's going to have to save face. Xbox fan, by the way, but this is ridiculous. Listen, their official, 3-paragraph response is all you need to see. If they want to do some diplomatic backpedal where they're like, no, it's not the Series S's fault, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We wouldn't be having this conversation if there weren't two versions of the Xbox. Because they literally said, we can't get the same standard on the Series S and the X. Now, if you want to read that and you want to say, yeah, they're just struggling with split screen co-op, my pushback is, that's what they would have said. We're trying to get split screen co-op to work. We've encountered some technical snags. We want to make sure this thing runs well. And that's all they would have said. But they cite the two different versions of the Xbox, and then they say, we can't get it to the same standard. Meaning, they can't get performance parity between the Series S and the Series X with respect to split-screen co-op. And you're like, that's not the Series S's fault. And I'm looking at you saying, how? Who would look at that reasoning? Who would look at that argumentation, that performance parity statement and say, surely it has nothing to do with the Series S and its 8 gig of RAM bottleneck? So, find me where he said this, by the way. Find me. I had someone in my chat tell me that he was on Twitter saying that it wasn't the Series S. Find me the tweets, because I couldn't find them. Where's this Reddit thread? Where is it? Where's the Reddit thread where he apparently said it's not the Series S? Where is it? Where are these smoking guns? And yes, the reason that I'm entertaining this discussion again from yesterday is because the first thing I said is, I want raw gameplay, and this is why. Lono, coffee question, is it whole bean? It's pre-ground. It's pre-ground because I have to buy it in bulk from the roaster, so I can't do like a half order of ground and a half order of whole bean. So we have to do ground because that's more popular. Like, not everybody has a grinder in their home, you know what I mean? Who said it came from Reddit? A guy in my comments this morning said it. A guy in my comments this morning said, oh, that guy from Larian Publishing, or he's the head of publishing, he went to Reddit and he already said it's not the Series S. The only thing I'm finding from his Twitter that holds water for the it's not the S's fault is he repeated the driving of, it's just a technical issue with Xbox, but it's not a delay since it wasn't announced. Yeah, all he was trying to do on Twitter was dispel the notion that this was a delay. That's all he was doing. Like, I couldn't find any tweets. Is this what they're talking about? Yeah, he says the statement does not say that. That's all he says. Baldur's Gate 3 says no exclusive deal between Sony and PS5. Reasons why it's not releasing on Xbox is due to technical issues getting the game to run, likely due to the Xbox Series S and what many devs have said about it holding back games and Microsoft forcing it. Wow. Okay, here's the thing. They're not claiming that it says that. They're saying likely due. They're saying reason it's not releasing on Xbox is due to technical issues getting the game to run. That's what he's countering. He's saying that's not what it says. And he's right to counter that. They're not having trouble getting the game to run. That's false. They're having trouble with split-screen co-op. That's what he's disputing in that tweet. That person is summarizing and saying, yeah, they can't get Baldur's Gate to run. And he's like, that's not what it says. Now, they do conclude, yeah, it's likely because of the Series S. So I don't know what he's disputing there. Is he disputing the Series S claim, or is he disputing the claim that it won't run? He's likely disputing the claim because they're falsely summarizing the statement. They're falsely summarizing Larian's statement about it. They're saying, yeah, they can't get the dadgum game to run. Oh, and then, yeah, he replied to that comment. Thank you, Lone Wolf. For clarification, that statement says that Baldur's Gate 3 is in development for Xbox systems. Active development. Yeah. So he clarifies. He is not talking about the Series S in that tweet. He clarifies his own statement. I will never take the claim Series S is holding back gaming seriously. With some of the best games running on previous gen consoles like Red Dead Redemption 2, it's always possible. It's about resources. Always looking backwards and never looking forwards is death in technology, which is what you just did. Yeah. Series S isn't holding back gaming? No. Nope. Why? We have one game, maybe two games like Red Dead Redemption 2 that can run on previous gen consoles. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's fine. I tell you what, JC. I want you to go buy a PC that has the strength of the Series S. And then in about 2 years, tell me how many PC games you can't play. Because the list will grow every year. The list will grow every year. And you'd be like, you can't tell me that my weaker PC is holding back my gaming experience because of Red Dead Redemption 2. And I'm just going to laugh and be like, sorry, bud, you can't keep playing games. Minimum specs go up. The minimum spec floor goes up. I got super tech-savvy guys in chat that'll tell you how it works because they're big into that field. YouTube Lurker with 10 months and it's a VIP gold. I've tried to help the community, but the content has gone in a direction I can no longer support. You in short shorts and leg warmers. For this, I'm out. Keep bringing the great shows. Thank you, YouTube Lurker. Well, you're not going to get me in short shorts and leg warmers because you guys have until March 2nd, and we just hit 2,500 a day. I don't see us getting 1,000 members before the 2nd. It's not happening. Minimum spec hasn't gone up in like 10 years. I had to reboot. I'm sorry. I had to reboot. Minimum spec. Minimum spec hasn't gone up in like 10 years. A decade. Woo. Wow. Never go full. Never go full, chat. I don't even need to. I don't even need to dunk on that. I just had to read it. I don't even need to dunk on that. I just had to read it out loud. That's all I had to do. Exaggerating, but it barely goes up. Oh, it barely goes up. Barely. Okay. All right. $52,000 very positive reviews. No one's going to play that game. What game has 52,000 positive reviews? What are you guys debating? 52,000 positive reviews? Oh. You're saying after 3 years. Oh, he's saying, no, yeah, if you want to downplay how popular Baldur's Gate is, and like, oh, Baldur's Gate 3 is not a really big deal, whatever. That's not what's up for debate when that discussion happens. Baldur's Gate 3 doesn't need to be incredibly popular for that discussion to be important. Told you yesterday, Lono, you shouldn't take anything he says about technology seriously. 1060 is in most games, but now it's the 1660. It's not that big of a leap. Okay, so Parasito just found me Battlefield 4 system requirements 10 years ago. You needed an Intel Core 2 Duo. You needed a 512 meg 8 Radeon card or a GeForce 880, right? And then, what's this? I don't understand what these are. Woo, same core? I'm not sure what I'm looking at here, Paris. It looks like the same screenshot. Yeah, 512 meg card. That's freaking adorable. Oh, those are specs 10 years ago. Yeah, 10 years ago you could play 10 years ago you could play Battlefield 4 with the 512 meg video card. $512 meg? I think video cards and phones are stronger than that now. Yeah. Yeah. 10 years ago. And now, Battlefield 1, dedicated video RAM 2 gig. Guys, it's barely moved. Guys, it's barely moved. Battlefield 4 to Battlefield 1, you went from being able to use a 512 meg video card to needing 2 gig of dedicated video RAM. But, you know, min spec is barely moved. Oh, that's just a 3-year difference, by the way. That's not a 10-year difference. In 3 years, you needed 4 times the video RAM. 4. That was 3 years, but it's barely moved. That shirt is dope. Thank you. It's from 80s Tees. Be sure to use my code over there, code Lono, if you like my shirts that I wear every day. So when you want to come at me and you want to try and educate me about it's not the Series S, it's not. It's all these other hardware excuses. You don't even have like a basic entrance level understanding of what we're talking about. There's a ton of examples of what I'm talking about of games requiring the same popular card. No, see, you're getting lost in the weeds of your own making, bro. You're getting lost in the weeds of your own making. You're not even in the ring with me. You got a blindfold on, laying next to the boxing ring, randomly shouting stuff. Like you're not even actually in the boxing ring sparring with me, brother. Like you're just saying random stuff. You said that the minimum spec requirements hadn't moved for 10 years. Then you moved the goalpost and said, well, it's barely moved. Now you're saying you can find examples of games that all require the same card. Do you see what's happening? You're not making a point. You're just trying to talk. You just want to have something to say that somehow sticks and helps you maintain your narrative. This isn't a discussion or a sparring session. You're just randomly throwing stuff, hoping in desperation. It's like in those horror movies where like the big strong guy is like walking towards the person in the kitchen and they're like throwing cereal and spoons and bowls and anything they can throw, hoping that it's going to work. You're not landing any points. You're just saying random stuff. It's a batting cage, except the balls are full of So, oh, and it's just a deafening silence, by the way. It's a deafening silence. Where did this guy claim it wasn't the Series S? That's what set us down on this debate. We're talking Starfield. If you just tuned in, the Starfield showcase announcement's going to happen sometime this week. One of my main talking points that I want from the Starfield showcase, I want raw Starfield gameplay because I'm concerned about performance. I want to see how this game runs. I don't want to see spliced up footage. I don't want to see a bunch of different vertical slices. right? That's not what I want to see. And I brought up the Series S, and we brought up this thing with Baldur's Gate. I asked where the post was and who said it. I know you didn't bring it up, JC. I know you didn't bring it up, but I brought it up, and I had somebody else in my chat say, oh yeah, that guy was also on Twitter shooting down the claims about the Series S. That's not true. I'm going to make a bet. I'm going to make a bet, JC. Dollars to donuts, there is no post where that guy says it's not the Series S. That's my bet. It doesn't exist. Because if there's one thing I learned, there is a certain breed of people who defend Xbox and they just lie. They have no problem lying. Either that or they go watch some liar YouTuber and they just repeat those lies. Half-Life 1 versus Half-Life Alyx. A 12-year difference. Yeah, you could run Half-Life on 96 meg of RAM, a 16 meg video card, and a 500 megahertz processor. And games now, you need 12 gig of RAM, you need 6 gig of VRAM. Yeah, come on. Oh, that's 22. That's 22. Sorry, 22 years. Yeah, in 22 years. Unbelievable. Steam hardware survey from 5 years ago versus right now. So Parasito's got me. Okay, so in 5 years, the average systems, the percentage of people having system RAM, it went from 8 gig. About half of the people that use Steam had 8 gig. Now about half of them have 16 gig. So RAM alone has doubled. CPU speeds have bumped up from about a third now have 3 gigahertz, 3.9. That's not worth comparing. Those are basically the same on the CPUs in 3 years' time. It's about 20%, about 30%. Video card descriptions, 1650s to the 1060. So, see, I think I see what's happened. What just happened to Discord? Did Discord just go down? Discord just like rebooted or something. I don't even know. I don't even know what happened. Keep in mind, CPU is leaning into multi-threading better now. What my client is trying to say is that devs develop to the most common cards, not the latest cards. The market will not leave behind the majority of users. No. That's not what he was originally saying, Zubair. You're just clarifying his current goalposts. No, that's not what he said. He said min specs haven't moved in 10 years, or they barely move. My argument against the Series S is that the min spec floor goes up. What you're saying, Zubair, is true, and those common cards, do you want to know what they do? They raise the min spec floor, because the more people that bump up to 1650s or other video cards that raise the general consensus of gamers on Steam and stuff, that raises the min spec floor, because developers can say, oh, we can do this now. More people have cards at that threshold. So when we look at the S, that's one of the things we've been saying is like, come on, the min spec matters. I quoted an ID software developer yesterday who said you have to build for that first, and that's going to limit what you can do with your games. Series X is a bottom tier card. No, we're talking about the S. Oh, you're asking if the Series S is a bottom tier card. Okay, we got to go back to what I said to him, Kevin. This is the thought experiment I gave him. I said, go buy a PC that is at the power and performance of a Series S and talk to me in 3 years and tell me how many games you can't play. That was the point I was making him. If you're looking at the Series S, you have to think 3 and 4 years down the road. That's how long you've got to think, because this generation is just getting started to a certain degree. Like, how many next-gen titles do you have for your Xbox Series X right now? How many? Not very many, right? We're in the beginnings of the life cycle. So you got to think 3 years down the line. So buy an Xbox Series S equivalent PC. and then talk to me in 3 years about how many games you can't play. You would get left behind. It's already happening. I'm saying that takes a while to go up, like 10 years, because of the min spec, and developers are going to develop the most popular card, which is usually a very weak card. JC, we've already proven that. That's another thing you're claiming that isn't true. From one Battlefield to another, in 3 years' time, it required 4 times the video RAM. In just 3 years that happened. Coincidentally, that's the number I gave you. Talk to me in 3 years when you're on a PC that's equal to the strength of a Series S. It took 3 years' time, and that's it. Min specs are moving on average every 4 to 6 years. Yeah, and the reason I'm saying 3 is because we're 2 years into this life cycle. So basically, 5 years into the life cycle of the Series S, I want you to look at where PC min specs are going. And the reason we're talking about this is you got games like Baldur's Gate where, it's going to come from PC to console. Or, we're cross-platform developing the game for both PC, PS5, and the Xbox ecosystem. That's one game, though. I'm talking about generally. Battlefield is known for pushing the envelope of graphics. Developers are known for pushing graphics. That's a theme in gaming, man. That's a theme in gaming. Developers love to push graphics. That's a thing. That's where that's the trajectory of technology. Yeah, there you go. Dark Souls 2 comparison versus Elden Ring. Thank you, Wheezy. 10 years apart. Right now, my R7 1800X and GeForce 1080 from 2018 can still play everything perfectly, but it can definitely change soon. New consoles are slowly becoming lead platform. Lead platform? No. You can't even play Elden Ring on Dark Souls 2 maximum recommended. Look at the difference in performance targets. Yeah, the Series S problem is not the GPU. The devs have highlighted it. It's not the GPU. It's the memory. Here's the thing I don't get in this discussion. Here's the thing I don't get. And yes, this is related to Starfield. This is related to everything I said in my Starfield show open. This is why I want raw gameplay. The second thing I said is established performance. A big question mark is how well is this game going to run? Showcase the content loop. I want raw gameplay. I want to see what the content loop looks like. We need a hard release date, and they need to set the stage for expectations of marketing. Like, are we going to get videos between now and the release date? Those are all the things that I want to see in the Starfield Showcase. The Starfield Showcase announcement is coming anytime soon. And the Series S is related to all of this. It is. It is related to all of this. Because we can't keep ignoring what developers are saying. Like, this is my question to you. Stop typing for just a second. Stop throwing out random, unsubstantiated claims about tech and tech trends. I want you to engage with what the guys from id Software said. They say the memory constraint's going to be a problem. What do you say to the fact that developers are already complaining about the memory constraints and Microsoft tried to free up more memory for them? What do you say to that? What's your response? Because up to now, it's been a hand wave. That's not a problem. Even though experts, developers, and Microsoft themselves have admitted that it's a problem and a bottleneck. What do you say to that? What's your response to that? He's saying the Series S is going to be obsolete in a few years because its specs are too bad. Starfield may suffer on the S like Skyrim suffered on the PS3. That's all I'm trying to say. I have an Xbox Series X. Like, I want Starfield to be amazing. I want it to run incredibly well, and I'm super concerned that the Series S is going to lampoon all that. It's going to sabotage all that. My response is enjoy gaming and be happy. Okay. I don't know why people always have to come in and do like the Sesame Street thing. We're having a deep discussion, breaking down performance, frame rate issues, performance issues, textures, or frustrations with next gen or whatever. Just enjoy it. Why can't you just play games for fun? What the frick, man? Like, okay, Elmo. I think the statement from id Software makes sense. The lowest common denominator, Series S in this case, may slow down tech adoption, though, as you say. The Xbox One X released in November of 2017. Fortnite released on the Xbox One. These are the launch specs for Fortnite. Here are Fortnite specs today. Okay? So when Fortnite launched, 4 gig of RAM, an Intel HD 4000 card, 3 gigahertz processor. Now it wants 8 gig of RAM. Like, double the RAM needed? Like, what the frick? What did Fortnite do? That was a game that already existed, and they did that. Trying to say that them helping with the online technical aspects is the same as developing the entire game. Wasn't a big portion, it's false. Why would I get into that? It's a dumb argument. I asked you a question, JC, and you haven't answered it. What is your response to 3 different high-level developers at id Software saying the memory constraints are a problem? There were developers expressing that the memory constraints are a problem, and Microsoft tried to open up more memory. Analysts have said that it's not going to make much of a difference. What is your response to that trajectory? And yes, the Baldur's Gate situation is like a capstone to that situation. It's like, this looks like the Series S is going to be a problem. Devs are asking for more memory. Microsoft tries to free up more memory. Boom, and here we have a port struggling to get the same standard between the Series S and the Series X. What's your response? What devs from id Software said that? I never heard that. Yeah, you probably had your ears plugged yesterday when I was doing my show open because it's tough to interact with facts counter to your a priori position commitment. Poe. I read the quotes multiple times yesterday. I'm not reading it again. Go watch my show open from yesterday. And for context, Poe was in here yesterday driving nonsense, so that's why I'm being flippant with him. I don't typically respond to people like that. Like, man, this guy's kind of rude. What devs from ID said that? I never heard that. Can't hear everything? That's fine. That's fine. But you walk in the room with like a, where was that stated? I never heard that. I read it yesterday multiple times. I could probably go into my show notes and go to the previous versions and find it for you. Do you really want it? If you really were asking that in good faith, hang on. Version history, see version history. Give me a second. Yesterday at 2 in the afternoon, the Word document, here we go. No, that's not the right one. Oh, wait, that's the wrong one. I need to go to the 26th. I clicked on the 25th. All right, here. I'll get you the quotes. Because there's multiples, bro. There's 3 different guys from id Software weighed in. These are the guys that make Doom. Okay? You want to know what they worked on? id Software lead engine programmer, Billy Kahn, principal engine programmer, Axel Knighting, and senior programmer, Dustin Land. These are the people that are talking. That's their level of expertise. Okay? Right? That's their level of expertise. Here we go. Axel, who is principal engine programmer, says, it always scaled on PC is nonsense. Every AAA game in the past decade or so has had their assets made once they run to min spec. Increasing sample counts a bit here and there for high settings isn't what you could truly have done with more power. Min spec matters. He's basically saying you've hamstrung this generation because you got to target min spec first. That is Axel. Billy Kahn, the other guy, the lead engine programmer, he says the memory situation is a big issue on the S. The much lower amount of memory and the split memory banks with drastically slower speeds will be a major issue. Aggressively lowering the render resolutions will marginally help, but will not completely counteract the deficiencies. These guys are optimization geniuses, by the way. Have you ever played Doom? Like on the virtual, on all the different places that it showed up? These guys are optimization geniuses. Right? id Software senior programmer Dustin Land says the S is significantly nerfed compared to the X. Okay, so what's your argument? It's remarkable. You were here yesterday, Poe. You were here yesterday. Where are these quotes? Where are these quotes? I've never heard these quotes. What are you talking about? Oh no, they exist. All right. It's okay, guys. It's a common tactic. I'll wear him out. I'll make him restate his entire position. You don't know me if you think you're going to wear me out. What do you mean, what's my argument? What do you mean? What's my argument? We've been going back and forth since yesterday about this. We've been going back and forth about the Series S for a long time. Wait, you are in the dark on what my argument is? You're not familiar with my position on the Xbox Series S, Poe, with the purple badge? You don't know what I think? You need me to say it again? The Xbox Series S is a self-made Trojan horse. It's going to hamstring the entire Xbox generation of consoles this time around because everybody's going to have to min-spec build for it and maybe either cut features or lack feature parity or lack performance parity. Do you mean to say that all over again? And that's why I want to see raw gameplay of Starfield? Do you need me to say that again? Are you all caught up now, Poe? Does Doom work on the Switch, though? Yes or no? Well, I believe Doom runs through cloud on the Switch. I'd have to double check that, but I'm fairly certain that Doom does not run on the Switch natively. It runs on the cloud. And I don't know how well it was reviewed. Some of those cloud games that have gotten put to the Switch do very poorly. Oh, Doom is native? Doom, Switch, Metacritic. Yeah, 79 and 8.5. So what you're telling me is these guys really know what they're talking about, right? It's always possible to try to optimize your game for lower fidelity specs like the Series X. They managed to fit Doom on the Switch, which is a potato comparatively. All you've done is establish the developers of Doom are apparently, as I said moments ago, these guys are optimization wizards. They are brilliant at optimization. So I thought it ran on the cloud. Part of me is not surprised. Part of me is not surprised that they got Doom to run on the Switch. Those guys are optimization geniuses. They are. So you basically just made them look really smart in the context of optimization. Those same gentlemen are saying that Series S is going to be a problem. That's going to be tough. We're the guys that got Doom to run on the Switch, and we're saying that that's going to be a problem. That adds more weight to what they're saying. Yeah, and Doom is 6 years old. That is true. You can run Doom 8K on a PC easy. It means nothing that it scales to the Switch. It was made for the PS4 and the Xbox One. Right. Right, but I think, to be fair to his point and his argument, he's saying they took a game designed for Xbox One, PS4, and they got it to run on the Switch. The Switch is a pretty weak system, I think is what he's saying. He's saying it's possible, right? He's saying it's possible. It's possible to take a game from one system to a weaker system and get it to run well. He's right. Funny enough, it's a self-own. It's a cell phone because you're basically pointing to the people that are really good at optimization. They got doomed to run on the Switch. Those are the same guys walking out and saying, Series S, that's going to be a significant problem. That's going to be a bottleneck if I've ever seen one. These are the guys that got doomed to run on the Switch, and they're the ones saying it. You should really consider that. So much hate? Where's their hate? No, you know what? You know what? No, yeah. No, that's enough. You're done here. False summaries. I'm done. I'm done. False summaries get banned. I'm done with people like you. You show up to take sideline side swipes at me. Find another place to hang out. I don't abide people like you. My tolerance for people that are as small as you, I'm over it. You're too small to hang out here. You don't have the integrity and the character to just talk and to just have a conversation. Who got banned? Poe. Yeah. So much hate. No. Bye. Bye. You want to summarize 2 hours and 14 minutes of back and forth conversation, quoting devs, talking about things that have been happening in the industry, making some guesses and some speculations about what's going to happen, expressing concerns about the performance of games. You want to summarize that as hate? You can take a frickin' walk. You can take a walk. That's not a conversation. That's not a back and forth. You can disagree with me literally until I pass out and lay down on the floor. I will get in the ring time after time with people, but the constant oh yeah, you just hate. So all you're doing is hate. Get the frick out. Losing argument? Why you bully me? What are you talking about, Hammer Fist? And I love how it always gets classified as hate. It's like, I'm in the ecosystem. I have a Series X. I am genuinely interested in playing Starfield, and my concerns are as a gamer. Like, me as a gamer, my preferences, my what I want from games, I feel is going to be short-changed because of the Series S. How is that hate? I appreciate the conversation at the end of the day. JC, listen to me. You got some wild takes, and you say some stuff that's way out of left field and a lot of times just factually not on target at all, but you've never taken a swipe at me. That's why you're still here. Like, I will literally go round and round with people. You said some wild stuff, JC. Stuff that's like you can't even substantiate with facts. And you get to hang out all day. I don't care. You don't take swipes. If you start taking swipes at me, that's the fast way out of here. That's not how we have conversations. That's why when people say, oh, he bans people who disagree with him. It's like, I latch on to somebody who's disagreeing with me to the point that they're probably like, man, let go, bro. I was just kind of wanting to make us just stop. Like, I don't let go of people. I'm like, you're going to debate me. Like, I love debating people. You start taking swipes at me and telling me I'm just doing hate or whatever the guy said the other day during the podcast with 30. No, get out of here. Get out of here. A lot of members are gifted, so no lose when Lono bans someone who deserves it. Yeah. Even if I'm banning somebody who's actively paying for a membership, if that's what they're going to bring to the conversation, that's not helpful. It's not helpful. All that does is people see a guy in chat with the purple badge taking swipes at the streamer. No, we don't do that here. That's not how we operate. I can't have somebody in here wearing a badge acting like that. I'm probably a little more strict on people that have a badge for that reason. Why am I not seeing the comments he reads? I'm streaming on YouTube. There's a link in my profile. I am so sorry. I was so in heated debate, I ignored you guys over here on the Tickety Talk. Go to my profile here and click the link to come to my YouTube. I stream on YouTube under Reforge Gaming. You debate with people who disagree. When your argument's a straw man or weak, then don't complain when Reforge takes you to task for it. This may be a good time to tell you that I withdraw as JC's attorney and I'm giving up chat lawyering. These hours are terrible and the pay sucks. Lono is the Kraken when it comes to debating, and disagreeing is chumming the water. Oh yeah, I'll come right up out of the water and grab hold of your boat and I won't let you go. Now, you're going to keep debating me. I'm just trying to understand from different point of views. My point is, it's possible to port pretty much anything lowering the reso. Is it hard or concerning to optimize it? Probably, yeah. Okay. Stop right there. Stop right there, JC. Let's have a true back and forth. You've not said anything false. That's all. Everything you just said is true. Let's just build off of that. My point is, you can port pretty much anything. You just got to lower the resolution. You got to lower settings, right? Is it hard or concerning to optimize? Probably, yeah. Okay. Track with me, JC. That's correct. Let's build on that. Why would a developer want to do more work? If they're not a first-party developer, one of my main focus points has been third-party developers are going to look at this, and it's going to be a problem for Microsoft. Build off of that. Think through that as a developer. Really think through the thing that you just said. Really think that through. Well, if we develop for the PS5, it's one system. And there's going to be more of them in circulation. Ouch. I'm not trying to console war here. Think like a developer. Just think like a developer. There's going to be more PS5s in circulation than the Series X and the S. That's already true, by the way, and that's going to continue that'll continue to break. I got to do more work for this ecosystem? I have to do more dev time? And I don't just have to do more dev time. I have to dedicate dev time to optimizing and lowering what my game looks and runs like? Why would I want to do that? The id dev literally said lowering resolution's not enough. Yeah, that's why I said you can't just lower resolution. I kind of baked a little bit into his statement. I said lower resolution and other things. I added a little bit. I feel like it was fair. I interjected a teeny bit into his premise. Awesome shirt. Thank you. You can get this shirt at 80s Tees. They also have one with Skeletor on it. I have that one as well. If you go over to 80stees.com, use code LONO for a 30% off discount. Yo, what's good, Vapor? Good to see you. What's good? Good to see you, Dolphin Girl. Yo, a 5 spot from my man Smashville. I think people confuse hate with passion. You're compassionate about games and systems that they run on. Thank you, Smashville. Cowboy says, Lono, what I want to get your thoughts on is Sony needing Call of Duty to fund their exclusive titles. That narrative, like I left a comment on Doc's video, and I said, yeah, it's funny what you can do when you foster an ecosystem where people spend money and buy games. It's amazing what you can do. Also, I think it's an oversimplification of what Sony does. If you look at the commercial success of their first-party titles, I think it's incredibly reductionist and biased and slanted to say, oh, they need Call of Duty for their first-party exclusives. That's not true. Just because they make tons of money from Call of Duty, and maybe, yes, they've used some of that to invest in infrastructure or their developers or developer purchases, that doesn't mean that those two things are a one-to-one budget relation every time. That's not how businesses work. Anybody running with that narrative, listen, I love Doc, and his video was funny, but it's like, bro, like, 1 in 4 games sold last quarter were first party. Right? The commercial success of their first party titles, that revenue leads to the investment in those properties. It's an oversimplification of business and revenue and budgets to think, oh yeah, all their games. So in order for that premise to be true, this is how ignorant it is. It's an ignorant position, I believe. in order for that position to be true, their first-party titles don't sell well, they don't break even, they don't generate profit. They get all their money from COD and they use that to invest in their first-party studios. That's not true. We know that's not true. We can look at the commercial success of Horizon Forbidden West or God of War Ragnarok and we can see, oh yeah, they made money. They made profit. They made money on God of War 2018. Money was then reinvested in Santa Monica. They expanded. Guerrilla was able to expand. If you expect me to believe that Call of Duty is the sugar daddy and all these other properties aren't generating profit and money for their own budgets, for their own justification, for their own ROI, for their own reinvestment plans, you're out of touch with how companies at this scale operate. You're running with a talking point from some other YouTuber or something. Why would they invest money in unprofitable enterprises? Exactly. Baked into this idea that, like, Sony needs Call of Duty to support their first parties. You basically just said that these are not profitable enterprises and they need the money from Call of Duty to invest in them. That is demonstrably false. That's not true. It makes for great clicks and it sounds like a great hot take, but it's like, no. Their games are commercially successful. They reinvest in them. Their developers are commercially successful. They reinvest in them. That's what happens when you foster an ecosystem where people buy games and don't expect to play 25 games for $1. So, Doc's video was funny, but I would not call it factually accurate with respect to business budgets and how Sony really makes their money and reinvests it. It's not accurate. It's a great click. It's a great click headline, but it's not it's not accurate with everything we look at. Any of the revenue reports coming out of Sony, any of the sales numbers coming out of Sony. It just isn't true. Yo, Quintar with 5 gifted members. Steve Weil, Storm Thunder, Sniggity Snags, KC Element, Curtis Henyon. You guys all got a gifted member from my man Quintar. He's taking us to 41, taking us to the doorstep of 50. But if we just did the math, Call of Duty comes out almost every year, and the most amount of people play Call of Duty on PlayStation. So could it be said that Sony makes more money from Call of Duty? Yes, but it's a non sequitur. So a non sequitur is a Latin term that means it does not follow. So a non sequitur is when you make one statement and you try to logically connect it to another conclusion, and the two are not logically connected. Sony makes more money from Call of Duty annually than it did from Horizon Forbidden West. Factually true. It's a non sequitur to say, therefore, they need Call of Duty to subsidize and pay for their first party titles. Nope. Non sequitur. That doesn't follow. No. You don't know where that money goes. You don't know where they've reinvested. You don't know what infrastructure they've spent money on, what contracts they spend the money on. We have no idea where that money goes. McDonald's makes a lot from selling Coke. Coke is not subsidizing Big Macs. That's exactly right. Like, that just isn't how budgetary line items work. It's not like, well, it's a good thing we're making a lot on Call of Duty because we can dump it on these other properties and developers. That's just not how it works. They said in their court documents that they use COD to fund their first-party games. But what percentage? Do we have a percentage point? Was it just a statement made in passing that this is part of our business structure, that we use profits from COD to help fund first-party games? Like, are they arguing to the business endemic nature of Call of Duty to their ecosystem? Are they saying that Horizon Forbidden West, are they saying that Guerrilla, Insomniac, and Sony Santa Monica are not profitable? Oh yeah, without Call of Duty, all these properties would die. Or are they saying, we've set up business infrastructure, we need that revenue? The percentage is redacted. Okay. Like, I'm not saying that they don't use money from the COD profits for the first-party developers. What I'm saying is, they're not... You don't need one for the other. You don't need one for the other. A commercially successful enterprise makes its money. That profit gets either reinvested in the next project or in the studio itself and keeps things going. Now, as far as subsidization, they could have said, hey, we need Guerrilla to expand. We need Santa Monica to expand. We're going to use some of the money from Call of Duty for that. I'm never going to claim that Call of Duty isn't endemic to their business, because I've talked about that in past discussions. 48% of the sales of Call of Duty is on Sony's platform. You can't suddenly rip that revenue out of their ecosystem. It would be completely disruptive to their business. But what I was pushing back on is they need Call of Duty to fund their first-party titles. That's not true. They were able to invest in first-party titles before they had all the contracts with Call of Duty, before they had 48% of the buying consumer base of Call of Duty. What they're saying is if you take Call of Duty away from us, it would be disruptive to our entire ecosystem. We might have to shrink Guerrilla down or Santa Monica down because we wouldn't have that revenue to subsidize the DLC team, or we wouldn't have the subsidies to then pay for quality assurance outsourcing for Ragnarok. Do you know what I'm saying? My issue with the headline hunting is people are acting like, oh yeah, without Call of Duty, you wouldn't have any PlayStation first parties. And it's like, what? No, that's not what the stat even said. Microsoft doesn't take their 30% store cut as cash on hand to use elsewhere. Right. Get JC a gifted sub. Dude has brought it the past few days. That's what they're trying to infer, but the CMA dismissed that claim. Both companies are really embellishing and downplaying certain aspects of their business to regulators. I'm pretty sure Sony said taking COD away will disrupt our business and being kind of dramatic, but I don't know where that article is. I mean, they've basically said that. How could you not say that? 48% of the people who buy Call of Duty buy it on the PlayStation ecosystem. Yes, that would be disruptive to their ecosystem and their business. Yes, that's a ton of money that they just suddenly wouldn't have. Even with the subsidy, the money might be used to pay devs, outsource, bonuses for leaders at studios, etc. Think about it like this. It stands to reason that if you're making a ton of money on a third-party game that you don't have to fund. Track with me here. Track with me here. This isn't alarming. This shouldn't be a headline, but it is, because it's a great way to try to take a shot at Sony. Can you believe Sony makes that much money on a piece of software that's not even theirs? Yeah. I wonder what they do with all that money. Well, they don't swim in it like Scrooge McDuck. They invest it into their ecosystem, into their properties, into their studios. Because why? Because they don't have to invest the money back in Call of Duty. It's not their property. Reality is Sony kills it. Look at Sony's track record. They normally set the bar for each generation and have a lot of dormant ups and they could bring back successfully. They both could definitely be embellishing and downplaying right up to the edge of lying without tipping over to make the best argument for their position. Well, no, think about it, Chapter 8. That people are going with a false conclusion. Sony is basically saying, listen, Call of Duty generates so much money for our platform that we take that money and we invest it into our own stuff. Because what else are we supposed to do with it? Put it in a jar that says Call of Duty profits and take pictures to put on Instagram? What else are they supposed to do with all that money? Of course they invested into their properties. Of course. They're saying, listen, if we suddenly don't have that revenue, you're talking about revenue streams that are endemic to our business structure. And Xbox guys are running with it and saying, yeah, Sony needs Call of Duty to subsidize their first-party games. You wouldn't have first-party games without Call of Duty. Nope, that's not true. No, That's not what they stated. They stated this is endemic to our business practice, and if we suddenly don't have that money, that's disruptive to our business. You would do the same thing if you suddenly ripped Fortnite off their property, by the way. If you suddenly rip Fortnite off their property, you do the same thing. It generates tons of money. And it's not their property. So all money generated by Fortnite, they can reinvest into their own studios and their own property. What do you think Microsoft does? Geniuses? What do you think they do with all the property that they don't own? Man, it's kind of funny. When you think about it, maybe that's why we get more first-party games from Sony. Maybe that's why first-party games win awards, because they have an ecosystem where people spend money. It's the fact that Microsoft guys think this is an own or a dunk, it's like they're not self-aware. It's like they're not self-aware. Look at Sony. Look at Sony making tons of money and reinvesting in their property. Look at you. You need all that money to make your games great. Over here at Xbox, we don't need money, bro. We don't need an ecosystem where people buy games. Just put everybody on Game Pass. And we'll just dream about money. It's like they think they're owning Sony. I can't believe that they make so much money that they're able to subsidize their properties. Can you imagine being successful and having like a sound business structure? Why would you? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Maybe Microsoft should do that. Maybe this whole time, people have expressed concern about Game Pass fostering an ecosystem of dollar menu gaming. Maybe, just maybe, those people are onto something. Maybe when everybody made fun of Jim Ryan talking about the virtuous cycle and not putting first-party property on a subscription service, maybe they're onto something. Maybe when I said that, PS Plus was going to be dead on arrival because they weren't putting first-party property on their day and date like Xbox, intimating that they needed to compete with Xbox, maybe they're onto something. Look at this nerd with his savings and investments. Real homies live paycheck to paycheck. Game Pass makes so much money. I don't know. It might make more money than a regular sale. No. What's the frick code for the coffee? I spaced on it. Get fricked. I think next time we'll just do code frick. That's what we did last time, I think. Microsoft doesn't share the number, so we don't know. It would be like making fun of Microsoft for using money earned from Windows and such to invest in Xbox. Wouldn't they do that? Yeah. Imagine using a bunch of money from other things to invest in your gaming infrastructure. Like, man, where have I heard this before? It's weird. It's almost like every single time the Xbox discussions would come up, people would cite the deep pockets of Microsoft. Big Daddy Microsoft can buy and do whatever they want. Where's all that money come from? I'm just curious. Where's all the money that Microsoft generates and uses to subsidize the gaming division? Where's that all come from? It doesn't come from game sales. It certainly didn't come from the Halo Infinite microtransaction store. That's bizarre. It's almost like companies make money from all sorts of different investments and business ventures, and then they invest it in the stuff that they think is maybe going to be profitable or worth investing in long term, right? Because Xbox, for a while now, the gaming division hasn't been that profitable. Like, Xbox fans don't hear themselves. They spend months defending the buyout and Xbox and the deep pockets of Microsoft. Microsoft's got more money than God, right? Yeah. They have no problem with Microsoft using money from non-gaming ventures to invest in gaming. But when Sony makes boatloads of cash from Fortnite and Call of Duty, and they reinvest the profits from third-party games into their own first-party games and their own infrastructure and ecosystem, now all of a sudden that's like a dunk and an own? What? So Sony fosters an ecosystem within gaming that pays for their gaming enterprises. Microsoft was so in the red that Xbox and the gaming division were so in the red that it almost got shuttered, and Papa Microsoft has to write checks and has to try to do buyouts to get them into a competitive realm. But you want to try to dunk on Sony because their ecosystem is generating so much money. They're just like, we're making so much money from all this stuff. We can't do, what are we supposed to do with all this money? And they invested in all their properties. I'm telling you, Xbox guys, they don't see it. They're so full down the fandom lane. It's like, you just talked like you're owning Sony, but you just owned Xbox, and you don't even realize it. Hang on, somebody ordered some coffee. Hey, somebody ordered some coffee. DB Cooper. DB Cooper. Got a bag of the Frickmas and a bag of the dark roast. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. We got a lot of subscribers today. We got a lot of members today. I found the quote. It says that this would, in turn, also reduce the potential return on producing innovative first-party games, diminishing their incentive to invest in new games. LOL, DB Cooper? Why is everybody laughing? It's his username. JC with the largest turnaround. Oh, it's a media epithet for an unidentified man who hijacked an airline flight. I didn't know what that was. I just thought that was his username. I'd never heard that. I'd never heard that before. Yeah, I just read it as a username. I was like, oh yeah, thanks, DB Cooper. What do you mean when you say the S is a Trojan horse? So the story of the Trojan horse is it looked great, and they let it in, and it led to their downfall, right? Series S looked great on paper. A cheap, economical, really low entrance point into this generation of consoles. And I believe it's fundamentally going to harm them in the long run. Like, I believe it's going to hurt their relationships with potential third-party games. It's going to hurt their potential own games. Like, this is why we're talking about it during a Starfield stream. Like, the Starfield showcase, I want to see raw gameplay. I would like my questions about performance answered. Why? Because I have concerns that the delay of Starfield had more to do with the Series S than anything else. Will be some nice haves for your showcase. My top 5 things was raw gameplay, established performance. We want to know 30 FPS, 60 FPS, how's it going to run? Showcase some of the content loop to a degree. I know you can't show everything because it's a big game. I need a hard release date. That seems obvious, but they definitely can't do this showcase without a release date. And number 5, set the stage and the expectations for Starfield marketing. Like, what are we getting between now and the release date? Baldur's Gate 3 may never be on Xbox, period, and it very well could be the first in a long list, says Eugene. I'm confident they can figure it out, Eugene. He hijacked an airplane, stole a ton of cash, and parachuted out, and he still hasn't been caught. Oh. Wait. Did he just bought some of my coffee? Amazing. Amazing. That's pretty awesome. Judging Bethesda's past, I think the showcase and the game release is very short. It'll be announced one after another. Wait. You're saying the showcase and announcing the game release, or are you saying the showcase and the release of the game will be close together? Which is it? You're going to have to spell that out for me. Let me see the shirt. Look, I feel like He-Man's got a little bit of... He's got a little bit of a... It's like, check out my butt, boys. Are you staring at my butt? Like, look. Do you see how he's standing? He's kind of turned to the side, you know? I think He-Man's got some cake back there. I think he wants people to see it. How's the Wolong demo? If you're fans of games like Neo that are really fast, you'll probably like it. I thought it was too fast. I like Sekiro, and it felt too fast for me. I mean, try it out. Figure it out for yourself. Don't just take my word for it, but that would be my advice. The showcase will announce the game. It'll come out not too long after the showcase. Yeah, I think the showcase... Okay, the Starfield showcase announcement, I think we get that this week, March 2nd. They're going to do the press event with the press. The press event's going to walk out with some new footage and some marketing materials about the showcase. I think the Starfield showcase happens in March. I think they then announce that it has a June release date. Yes, I think it's a 2 to 3 month marketing window. That's what I think. So that's what I think this week's... That's why I wanted to get this video out there. I was like, I want to be out there before the announcement being like, here are my must-haves from the showcase, because that showcase is coming quick. Well, I mean, they'll announce it. It'll probably be a couple of weeks into March, maybe. Thank you for 5 months, Cloud Giant, says W Stream. I appreciate that. I think the June 29th release date lines up. No, those guys came out and said that's not it. 6-9? I don't think so. 3 days after Diablo? No. They're going to want some distance, Paris. They're going to want some distance from Diablo. I don't think you want to be in the shadow of Diablo. 7-7? I actually have thought for a while that 7-7 would be better. Because... yeah, not nice. Yeah, if you don't get the 6-9 date, that's definitely not nice. Yeah, 7-7 looks better on paper, and that's like what, a week late? I think that they could do that and nobody would get that upset. It was supposed to be in the first half of 2023, and it's a week late. That's a week into the second half. You think Starfield is 3/23/23? Okay, I've had to push back on this every time. Number one, all of the insiders that know information have scoffed and laughed at the idea of a March release. Second, it's not the day and the year that they want to be the same. They like the month and the day to be the same, because then everywhere in the world the date looks the same. That's why I kept saying 10/10/23. I was like, 10/10/23. It looks like a binary thing, like computer typing calculator thing, right? That's what I had been saying. 7/7, I think, is a great date. It's a Friday. You get that universal date globally, and it's only a week late at that point. No one would say, oh, you missed the first half of 2023, you bunch of liars. Nobody would say that. I mean, maybe some morons would, but most people wouldn't say that. Hey, another order of coffee from Victor, a bag of Frickmas and 2 lights, and he used that code GETFRICK to save 20% off. Today's the last day you can use code GETFRICKed. I actually think 7/7's compelling. 3/23/23 looks cool, though, but it wouldn't look that way anywhere else in the world. You have to understand, anywhere else in the world, it would be 23/3/23. You can't base it off of Western calendar. Like, you can't base it off of how we do things in America. It would look terrible everywhere else. 23/3/23. Like, it doesn't roll off the tongue. 7/7/23, baby. That's the same everywhere. And it's a Friday. And it's literally right in the first, it's right outside the first half of 2023. I think 7/7's compelling. I think it's a compelling date. It might be more compelling than my 10/10 date. Because if they do the showcase, if the Starfield showcase happens in March, I think you're getting Starfield before my prediction of October. I think you're getting it in June or July. I'm leaning towards July. Because there's a couple of things they would benefit from this. It allows them to do, like, let's just let Diablo breathe for a month, and they can use the Summer Game Fest and the Xbox Bethesda Showcase to drive home Starfield. It's almost here. Next month. Play it on Game Pass. Like, if not March, I'm very much in the small boat that thinks it'll come out March, April. No. JC, the problem with that prediction is you're welcome to make it. I don't care about that. There's evidence kind of against that. There's evidence against that. Like, anybody connected to inside information is thinking June or beyond. Nobody has even entertained the idea of a shadow drop in March. In fact, there was a guy connected to the project who said they can't shadow drop this. There's a collector's edition. Those things need to be shipped physically to stores. There's physical things that need to be shipped. You'd have to do that quietly to shadow drop this. So you can't spring it in March. It just wouldn't work. So there's actually a lot of evidence to push against a release date before June. That's why I keep saying late June, July. I for a long time thought 10/10. 10/10/23. I thought that just sounded and looked really nice. Can't shadow drop a game people know about. Right, that's true, Paul. It wouldn't be a traditional shadow drop. It would be more like a surprise. Hey, it's coming out next week. They released Oblivion in like 2 weeks after announcing. Okay, but they're owned by Microsoft now, JC. It's a different world. They're going to want to ramp up. Microsoft's going to want a lot of press out of this. You can't do that if you give yourself a 2-week release window. There's going to be physical editions of Starfield? Yes. There's going to be a physical collector's edition. A former employee said this on Twitter. They said that on Twitter. Yo, 8 months from Kazriel. Thank you so much. Real quick, what's the next release you're hyped for? No pressure, just pick one. My biggest game of the year? Oh, the next release would be Jedi Survivor. Jedi Survivor and then Diablo 4. Those are my 2 big games this year. Starfield I'm excited for, but it's probably a late June or July release as far as I'm concerned. Any rumors on when the showcase will be? I think they'll announce it on March 1st or the 2nd. That'll be after their private press event, and I believe it'll be in the middle. It'll be in the middle or late March, because they're going to want to ramp up to the showcase. Yeah. I don't think they're going to be like... There's the possibility they could say tune in next week, but there's also the possibility that they could say tune in on... I'm just going to throw out a date, okay? Tune in on March 23rd, right? There's your 3/23/23. 3/23/23. And then they get to spend a couple of weeks, like, putting out a video, putting out a promo, getting everybody hyped. Like, they could really do a good ramp up to the showcase. Oblivion wasn't a 2-week drop. It was talked about in November, but development delays pushed it back to March 20th. Yeah, Oblivion wasn't even a 2-week drop. Oh, you said you wasn't sure. Okay. 3/23/23. I like it, kinda. I kind of like it. Yeah, I think it could work for the showcase. I don't think that's going to be the release date of the game. I don't think that's going to be the release date of the game, personally. Pulled a 10% yesterday. Or is it too? Don't have a lot of time to create it. Instead, we got 6 minutes. I have thoughts on the day before. Yeah, it's a fake game that'll never come out. They're gonna claim that the trademark issue and all the problems and all the drama, they're gonna claim that for those reasons they have to walk away from the project. I think they've already created narrative armor. Showcase on March 15th, release it on 4/4. That's a Tuesday. Yeah, maybe they go crazy. They apparently hit some kind of crazy milestone, you know what I mean? The trademark thing is legit, but I think it was orchestrated. I think it was planned. I think they chose the name on purpose, knowing that they could. Personally, I think the whole thing has been a setup from the beginning. Trademark thing was they planned on that. It's been a fake game from moment one, and they needed an exit strategy. If we're gonna build a fake game, we need a way to cancel it. Well, let's name the game after something. If we know the trademark holder, that'll be especially helpful. Trademark holder just coincidentally sits quietly, does nothing as it climbs the most wishlisted game on Steam, climbs and climbs and climbs and climbs, and then suddenly, so conveniently, right before you're supposed to put out your raw gameplay, in comes the trademark holder on a steed to rescue you. No, I don't believe them for a second. Everything's lined up too perfectly. If you were accused of making a fake game and you were making a real game, you would have a strong psychological response to that. You would get angry. You would push back. You would put out footage after footage after footage. The guy with the calendar app the day before, trademark in Korea since 2015. Yeah, if they know him, it's an easy ask. Like, hey, we're gonna name our game after your thing, and we're gonna need you to bop this thing and trademark claim it whenever we're ready to pull out. I don't know. I tell you what we're going to do. I told you guys I was going to do Hogwarts. I'm not going to do Hogwarts. This stream did great, but it didn't do strong enough for me to be confident in trying to roll over into gameplay on a day like today. I've had people do that before with big promises about tuning in, and I don't want to be angry when I'm playing a game I'm really enjoying. So I'm just not confident in the turnout today. This video should have, in my opinion, this video should have done quite a bit better than it did. And so I'm not confident in our core audience supporting us today. Not confident in it. And I don't feel like going and playing Hogwarts and getting angry. I'd rather just go hang out with members, eat lunch, and then I could do some No Man's Sky. We've done that before where we're like, yeah, everybody says they're going to be here and they're excited, and then I look like an idiot, and I don't feel like doing that. Especially not in a game that, like I said, I'm enjoying a lot. No Diablo. We may try and cook up a thumbnail for Diablo and cover it, because that's at 2 o'clock. That's at 2 o'clock. No Man's Sky VR. Yeah, I wanted to show you guys what it looked like, because it's really, really cool. I think that's probably true, James. People are a little worn out with Starfield news. You're probably right. We may cook up a Diablo thumbnail and decide to cover that at 2 o'clock. We may. They're doing a stream today at 2, and it might be worth covering. Or we could sit on it, and it could be our lead tomorrow. So, all right, I'm going to give you guys a link. We're just going to head to members, so I have a place to hang out, eat my lunch, and then I'll show you guys some No Man's Sky. I owe you 5 members. I owe you 5 members. I need to do this very quickly. I don't want this stream to be longer than 3 hours. I'm going to go as fast as I friggin' can. I almost owed you 10, but you guys fell 9 short of the 50. Member gifting, 5. All right, so this is 5 people that are going to get to come with us and continue watching. There we go. I'm going to put a link in chat. You guys can come with us, or we'll redirect. One of the two. If you're watching over here on the Tickety Talk, you got to come to Reforge Gaming and become a member. There you go. James Wright, Chase Iron, Shane Tool, Sly, and Shaman Sen. Thank you so much for clicking on. This is going to be another member stream. We're just going to be chilling, eating some lunch, looking at trailers, and I am going to show you some No Man's Sky VR. We're very excited to showcase that. We were going to do some Hogwarts gameplay today, but we know that's probably not a great idea because we're competing with something right now that wouldn't really be a great Tuesday. We had a great morning stream about Starfield. I'm going to end that Starfield stream. If you'd like to go watch that past broadcast, feel free to do that. I forgot to set up redirect. Give me a second. I'm trying to go as fast as humanly possible because I don't want this stream to be longer than 3 hours. And let's end. And let's bring everybody over.